Chapter 608, Universal Thunder Sect. Chapter 608, Universal Thunder Sect. All the experts, including Dark Emperor, Bone Dragon Emperor, and the present experts from the Darkness Temple, looked at Xue Ming with admiration. In normal circumstances, if they wanted to go to the Eternal World, they had to desperately fight for an Ancient World token, and then had to wait for the commencement of the Firmament Territory Feast to enter the Eternal World. In addition, even though they took part in the Firmament Territory Feast, only the people who did very well and the most brilliant talents could get the chance to enter powerful sections. Most of the people who were going to the Eternal World would become cannon fodder. But Xue Ming, he could directly enter the Eternal World and the Universal Thunder Sect just because he obtained an opportunity left by an expert of the Eternal World, and he could even be guided by an expert. His luck was really heaven-defying. I wanted to stay longer in the Ancient World, but Xue Ming said, and looking at Jian Wushuang with incomparably cold eyes. Anyway, he had just broken through and reached the skyscraping realm. Indeed, he was not in a hurry to enter the Eternal World. His original plan was to stay for another several hundred years in the Ancient World, where he could enjoy being a top expert. Anyway, when he arrived in the Eternal World, where there were countless experts, a skyscraping realm, would be as weak as an ant. However, just because of Jian Wushuang's pressure, he had to choose to crush the Jade Slip now and directly enter the Eternal World. Xue Ming, my junior brother, can you come along with me now? Xue Yang asked. Xue Yang, my senior brother, speaking frankly, I have a deadly enemy in this ancient world. Today, if you, my senior brother, had not come, I'm afraid I would have become a dead body. If this man is not killed, I cannot go to the Universal Thunder Sect with a peaceful heart. So, I hope you can help me kill my enemy. Xue Ming said seriously. Oh. Xue Yang raised his eyebrows, with his scarlet thunderbolt eyes sweeping around. Hearing what Xue Ming said, Jian Wushuang looked concerned. Xue Ming, my junior brother, who is your enemy? I can help you kill him. Xue Yang directly said. In this little ancient world, no one could stop Xue Yang from doing anything. He just needed to lift a finger to kill Xue Ming's enemy in the ancient world. As soon as he thought Xue Ming was the person Sect Master Lei Xian told him to guide, Xue Yang would not refuse at all. Thank you for your help, Xue Yang, my senior brother. Xue Ming was very glad. He pointed to Jian Wushuang immediately. Xue Yang, my senior brother, my enemy was him. I hope you kill him. I will be very grateful. This little guy? Xue Yang shot a glance at Jian Wushuang with no emotion in his eyes and said, Little guy, as long as my junior brother wants you to die, you have to die. After saying this, Xue Yang reached out his hand and pointed a finger at Jian Wushuang. A light scarlet thunderbolt whirled around him and burst out in an instant. At that moment, hua, the void directly collapsed, and many space rifts, which were as long as several miles, appeared. More than a score of space rifts burst out immediately. The space in the ancient world is so fragile. Xue Yang smiled scornfully. The sight of this caused the surrounding experts to gulp a deep breath. Anyway, in their ancient world, it was well recognized that Dark Emperor had the #1 offensive power. However, even the secret skill he created, his most powerful technique, could only make a small space rift in the void. But now, Xue Yang's casual finger could produce power, which was tens of thousands of times stronger than the Dark Emperor's most powerful technique. It was too terrifying. With a single finger, he could destroy the entire earth and heaven. No. Jian Wushuang's face became pale, seeing the finger which could destroy the world attacking him. Despite desperately wanting to escape, he realized with terror that no matter how he dodged, that finger would track and attack him. The comprehension of Tao from this far exceeded his imagination. Jian Wushuang, accept your destiny and die. Su Ming's face looked ferocious, looking forward to seeing the scene where Jian Wushuang was completely killed. However, just before the finger, which could destroy the world, really fell upon Jian Wushuang, the void before Jian Wushuang suddenly broke and a hole appeared. A giant hand came out from the hole and slapped that finger into pieces in an instant. Moreover, the power of the giant hand was not diminishing, and the hand continued to attack Xue Yang. What? Xue Yang, the purple-robed person with a superior posture, changed his face greatly at this moment. He had never thought that in this little ancient world someone could head-on stop his attack. As the giant hand approached him, he had no capacity to dodge at all. Pung! The giant hand slapped Xue Yang, and the latter immediately spouted out a mouthful of fresh blood, while his figure retreated in embarrassment. At the same time, a grand voice with arrogance was heard from the hole, echoing between the earth and heaven. Universal Thunder Sect, Humph! How dare you? You dare attack the man who is valued by our Master Emperor Shao. When there is a chance, I will visit your sect, Master Lei Xian, for Master Emperor Shao. The arrogant voice echoed between the earth and heaven, lingering for a long time, and terrifying everyone present. Emperor Shao? Master Emperor Shao? Xue Yang's eyes widened with a sense of terror. At this moment, he could not think about his own injuries. In a hurry, he looked at Su Ming and said, Su Ming, junior brother, let's go quickly. Shocked by that scene just now, Su Ming was stunned when he heard what Xue Yang said. He realized the terror on Xue Yang's face. He dared not hesitate, and just directly stepped into the channel to the eternal world following Xue Yang. As a brilliant light flashed, Xue Yang and Su Ming disappeared out of everyone's sight. Who? Watching Xue Yang leave, Bone Dragon Emperor let out a sigh of relief. It's lucky that the master has been paying attention to the situation here and did something, or Bone Dragon Emperor exclaimed. He knew that the person who had just attacked was Di Jing. Jian Wushuang, Su Ming has gone to the eternal world. If you want to kill him, it seems that you have to wait. Bone Dragon Emperor looked over to Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang was just standing still and looking at what was happening. He slightly nodded with an icy cold face. Universal Thunder Sect. Jian Wushuang gripped his hands tightly. Su Ming, you just wait, and I'll pursue you in the eternal world in a little while. Chapter 609, Heaven-defying 4 Steps. Chapter 609, Heaven-defying 4 Steps. Having not killed Su Ming, Jian Wushuang felt regret. Yet, except for Su Ming, the experts who had sought to kill the Sword Ancestor had all been killed. In the ancient world, Jian Wushuang had no other enemies. Jian Wushuang went back to the monster continent following Bone Dragon Emperor. They went back to the huge black castle where Emperor Shao was living. In the garden, Emperor Shao was sitting on a stone stool, while Di Jing stood by his side respectfully. You have finished dealing with your affairs. Emperor Shao looked over at Jian Wushuang. Yes, I have finished. There was a little accident, but luckily Master Di Jing helped me out. Jian Wushuang said, Aha, it was a small thing, and I just drove a little kid of the divine realm away. Di Jing smiled in a strange way. Divine realm? Jian Wushuang was stunned. Naturally, he knew that Di Jing was talking about Xue Yang from the Universal Thunder Sect. However, Jian Wushuang only knew that Xue Yang was a super expert far beyond the skyscraping realm, and he did not know his specific realm. Now, Jian Wushuang knew that Xue Yang's level was called the Divine Realm. The little guy of the Divine Realm was nothing, but the universal thunder sect behind him in the firmament territory is indeed not a weak sect. There are several experts of the eternal realm. When you go to the firmament territory and deal with the universal thunder sect, you have to be careful. Di Jing said. Eternal realm. Jian Wushuang was more confused. Little guy, aren't you yearning for the second gray stone bead? Now, I will give it to you. When you understand the realms after the heavenly creation skill, you will naturally get to know the concept of the divine realm and the eternal realm. Saying that, Emperor Shao threw the second gray stone bead to Jian Wushuang. As if it had its own consciousness, the gray stone bead immediately went into Jian Wushuang's body as soon as it got near him. As soon as the second gray stone bead entered his body, it began to crazily whirl. Then, a torrent of information directly entered Jian Wushuang's mind. This information was naturally the cultivation technique of the realms following the heavenly creation skill. This is accepting the cultivation techniques of the several realms after the heavenly creation skill. Jian Wushuang could not help but feel astonished. The message said that there were 2 volumes of the heavenly creation skill, with the first volume ending at flying to the 9th heaven. Flying to the 9th heaven meant that the warrior should lay foundation step by step from entering the martial arts. When he reached the last level of the cloud realm, Jian Wushuang would feel perfect in all aspects. This was just laying the perfect foundation. That was to say that the purpose of the first volume of the heavenly creation skill was only to lay a perfect foundation, just like what Jian Wushuang had now. After having the prefect foundation, Jian Wushuang would cultivate the heavenly-defying 4 steps. The heaven-defying 4 steps were really the core and essence of the heavenly creation skill. The heaven-defying 4 steps were Step 1 Heaven-treading realm, Step 2 Deification realm, Step 3 Everlasting realm, and Step 4 Eternal Supremo. As for normal warriors, there were also 4 realms above the cloud realm, and those were respectively the skyscraping realm, the divine realm, the eternal realm, and the Tao Master realm. The skyscraping realm of normal warriors corresponded to the first step of the heavenly creation skill, the heaven-treading realm. Jian Wushuang was at the 9-cloud realm now. Hence, if he could break through, he would reach the heaven-treading realm. The first volume of the heavenly creation skill was only for laying a perfect foundation. Then, the following heaven-defying 4 steps would be the most important. Jian Wushuang widened his eyes. To him, the first volume of the heavenly creation skill, which he had been cultivating, had several levels and was incomparably powerful. It could be described as overpowered. But now he knew that the real essence and core of the heavenly creation skill was its second volume, i.e., the heaven-defying 4 steps. As for the first volume, it was only for laying a perfect foundation to make him perfect in all aspects. It seems that I have looked down upon the heavenly creation skill. Jian Wushuang exclaimed secretly. It was a heaven-defying cultivation method that utterly changed his destiny, and it was absolutely far beyond a normal warrior's cultivation system. Jian Wushuang did not know how magical it was and how much power it had on earth. Yet, as long as Jian Wushuang had set out on the road of inverse cultivation, he would not be afraid. He would continue along it without any hesitation. I don't know the differences between my heaven-defying 4 steps and a normal warrior's 4 realms. Jian Wushuang was secretly musing. But now he knew that he was still too weak. He had just broken through and reached the 9-cloud realm. It was not easy to make the first heaven-defying step. There are 4 realms in the eternal world. Xue Feng was of the divine realm, but in the Universal Thunder Sect, there are several experts of the eternal realm. Jian Wushuang thought. In the 4 realms of the skyscraping realm, the divine realm, the eternal realm, and the Tao Master realm, the skyscraping realm is the most ordinary. Emperor Shao explained, in the eternal world, most of the ordinary disciples of the sects are of the skyscraping realm, and it is at the bottom in the eternal world. Take the Firmament Territory Feast as an example. Although countless experts of the ancient world would come, these experts had to reach the skyscraping realm at least to be qualified. Divine realm. In the sects of the eternal realm, someone at this level could obtain some prestige. Some divine realm experts with extreme strength could be the local tyrant in some isolated places in the eternal world. As for the eternal realm, it means eternal and everlasting life. Anyone reaching this level could be called experts even in the eternal realm. There are many sects in the eternal world, and the most powerful is the eternal realm expert. Experts at this level will be valued highly no matter which sect they go. As for the last Tao Master realm, Tao Master is the peak expert in the eternal world. They are the top beings and the real overlords of the eternal world. Of course, the 4 realms are only normal warriors' levels. You are cultivating the heavenly creation skill. As an inverse cultivation, it has unlimited potential. Jian Wushuang quietly nodded. He was listening very carefully and put everything that Emperor Shao said into his mind. At this time, Emperor Shao looked over at him again. There are 3 years before the commencement of the Firmament Territory Feast. In these 3 years, I'll do my best to help you raise your strength and let you have the chance to take the first heaven-defying step within 3 years. At your level, if you want to raise your strength, there are only 2 ways. And the first way is raising your comprehension of Tao. The second way is secret skills. Jian Wushuang was intrigued. Needless to say, the comprehension of Tao was very important. As for the skyscraping realm experts, their strength level was based on their comprehension of Tao. Although he had not understood the secret skill before, having fought against the Dark Emperor, Jian Wushuang was very clear about the overwhelming and terrifying power of the secret skill. Chapter 610, 9 Levels of Tao. Chapter 610, 9 Levels of Tao. First of all is the comprehension of Tao. Emperor Shao stared at Jian Wushuang. Tao is evolved from the origin source. The kind of the origin you cultivate will determine the kind of Tao you comprehend. Like many warriors you have encountered, nearly all of them have combined the weapon Tao with the origin, and that's how they comprehend their Tao. However, the origin Tao is the origin Tao, while the weapon Tao is the weapon Tao. They are completely different concepts. They have forcefully combined 2 different natures together. Although they have comprehended Tao, their Tao is unfocused nor complete. Strictly speaking, it cannot be classified into any type of Tao. The warriors who comprehend Tao in this way would be destined to stay at the skyscraping realm and would never raise their strength unless they could get an expert's guidance. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang was surprised. He had encountered a lot of Taos, from Su Ming's illusory sword principle to Blind Emperor's heart sword principle to Emperor Fengshao's water drop sword principle to Emperor Golden Snake's phantom saber principle, etc. But all of them were Taos comprehended through the combination of the origin and weapons. In the beginning, Jian Wushuang felt that these principles were very weird. Later, as he really comprehended the slaughter Tao, he found the power of his slaughter Tao was much more powerful than those Taos. Only now did he finally understand it. The illusory sword principle, heart sword principle, water drop sword principle, and phantom saber principle were all Taos comprehended through an incomplete way. Naturally, they were far inferior than Jian Wushuang's pure and perfect slaughter Tao. Kid, I know that you have comprehended 2 origins. Among them Your comprehension of the slaughter origin is higher, and you have comprehended the slaughter Tao. Emperor Shao looked over to him. However, it's a pity that I am not good at the slaughter Tao. Hence, I have to ask Di Jing to teach you. Senior Di Jing. Jian Wushuang looked at Di Jing immediately. Little guy, I specialize in the slaughter Tao. Although there were some accidents, and I nearly died, I have recovered now. With my comprehension of the slaughter Tao, I could even be the master of an expert in the eternal realm. There's no problem to teach you, of course. Di Jing smiled. By the way, the 6-story pagoda, actually, it was given to you by me. Jian Wushuang's eyes shone. He had guessed the truth. The 6-story pagoda was full of magic power. Even the restrictions of the first story were incomparably abstruse. After breaking through the first story, Jian Wushuang directly comprehended the slaughter Tao. Yet there were more profound restrictions in the other 5 stories. It was so great. Could it belong to a puppet master? There was only one answer, and it was that Di Jing gave the 6-story pagoda to him through the hands of the puppet master. A figure rushed out from Jian Wushuang's body, and it was his slaughter body. Then, in the next 3 years, the slaughter body will rely on you, Senior Di Jing. Jian Wushuang's slaughter body bowed and said. Jian Wushuang could only shrug his shoulders. He was not good at or fond of teaching disciples, but as long as it was Emperor Zhao's order, he had to obey. Although I am not good at the slaughter Tao, I am good at the world Tao. Emperor Shao spoke again. Oh, Jian Wushuang looked towards Emperor Shao with expectant eyes. Di Jing was Emperor Zhao's subordinate. Undoubtedly, Emperor Zhao's strength was much stronger than Di Jing's, and the former's personal instruction was better than the latter's. Without saying anything, Emperor Shao just waved his hand. Immediately, gusts of world energy gathered, and an incomparably huge khaki prison appeared in the garden. This is Jian Wushuang looked at the khaki prison in surprise. This is the world prison. Emperor Shao explained, this world prison was formed by the gathering of world energy. If you stay inside the world prison, you can clearly sense the surrounding world Tao, and the world prison will put pressure upon you and bring suffering to you. What you have to do is to comprehend the world Tao as soon as possible, and then you can break the world prison completely. Oh, Jian Wushuang's expression changed, and then his eyebrows slightly raised. He needed to completely break the world prison. Although he had not actually entered the world prison to cultivate, standing outside of it, he could see how solid the world prison was. Let alone him, even the Dark Emperor, whose offensive power was #1 in the ancient world and who had created a secret skill, could not dream of breaking the prison, could he? There are 9 levels of Tao. Emperor Shao said again. In this world, there are many types of Tao, but each kind of Tao has 9 levels of understanding. Every level is incomparably abstruse. You and numerous warriors who have comprehended Tao have just stepped across the threshold of Tao. Your comprehension of Tao is very low, let alone the 9 levels. Even the first level is incomparably difficult for you. Even the first level is incomparably difficult. Jian Wushuang was shocked. Yes, Emperor Shao continued, let alone your ancient world, even in the eternal world, a warrior of the skyscraping realm who could completely comprehend the first level of the occult of a Tao is very rare. Those people are really geniuses even in the eternal world, and many sects would fight to get them. The world prison in front of you could only be broken when the first level of the occult of the world Tao is comprehended completely. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang became silent. According to what Emperor Shao said, the warrior who could comprehend the first level of the occult were top geniuses even in the eternal world. He, however, had never comprehended the world Tao at all and was far away from the comprehension of the first level of the occult of the world Tao. What's more important, he only had 3 years. Could he break the world prison in 3 years? Emperor Shao thought too highly of him. Kid, don't worry. I don't expect you to break the world prison in 3 years, but I hope you could try your best to break it. It doesn't matter how much you can achieve. Any comprehension of the first level of the occult of the world Tao is an achievement. Emperor Shao said, "That's good." Jian Wushuang let out a sigh of relief. "All right, you can go into the world prison and try." Emperor Shao said. Jian Wushuang nodded, and then directly stepped into the world prison without hesitation. As soon as Jian Wushuang entered the huge world prison, he immediately sensed the extremely dense world energy, which had become a physical substance according to special laws, and thus created the incomparably solid world prison. How magical! How amazing! Jian Wushuang looked around with a sense of astonishment in his eyes. Chapter 611, Comprehension of World Tao. Chapter 611, Comprehension of World Tao. The world prison was composed of world energy. This power would usually be weak and could be dissolved easily by anyone from skyscraping realm. However, the world energy, after it was formed into this special world prison using a unique law of combination, was too solid to destroy. Law. Combination? Jian Wushuang wrinkled his brows in deep concentration, while swirls of world energy surged around him. Soon, a palm entirely developed from world energy stretched out abruptly from the stone wall of the world prison. With its fingers spread, the giant palm was trying to take hold of Jian Wushuang at an ultra-high speed, as well as with formidable force. Jian Wushuang was so astounded that he dodged aside, hurriedly. As the attacking palm grabbed where he was previously located, a swoosh sounded right away. Such immense power! Before he could even feel stunned, Jian Wushuang realized that behind him there were 3 places where world energy gathered. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 3 giant palms soon stretched out in succession, jumping wildly out at him. Jian Wushuang did not dare to pause, darting forth all over. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. More palms formed entirely by world energy flew over. Almost everywhere Jian Wushuang went, there was an attacking palm, providing no respite for him. This is the compulsion of the world prison that Emperor Shao said, isn't it? This is terrifying as it is too persistent and difficult to elude. How would I have time to painstakingly meditate on the world Tao? Jian Wushuang frowned, but soon he discovered something. The world energy contained in these giant palms are so powerful and peculiar. Jian Wushuang dodged through those attacking giant palms while observing them quietly to find out how they were formed. It was a profound application of world energy. World energy can be used in this way. Jian Wushuang immediately was lost in his thoughts. Outside the world prison, Emperor Shao sat on a stone bench in the garden, waiting quietly. In the blink of an eye, 2 days passed. Emperor Shao, who sat on the stone bench, raised his head, glancing up at the world prison. With a smile appearing on his face, he said, "Have you got comprehension of it?" Nodding in appreciation, Emperor Shao said, and his sonorous voice directly reached to the world prison. "Kid, come out." His voice contained some unique magic, as if it could invade one's mind and soul. In the world prison, Jian Wushuang, who had understood world Tao, was still in a state of ecstasy. Suddenly a crack was found by him on the stone wall. He began walking out of the world prison along the crack, and again came before Emperor Shao. "Respected Emperor Shao," Jian Wushuang said respectfully, "you've received a comprehension of world Tao, haven't you?" Emperor Shao smiled and looked at Jian Wushuang. Yes, Jian Wushuang nodded. You took only 2 days to comprehend World Tao. Although your enlightenment may have something to do with the world prison, I'd attribute it more to your own perception. You're such a talent that has proved yourself to be the successor of an old friend of mine. His heavenly creation skill not only created in you a perfect foundation, but also helped you improve your comprehension. Emperor Shao continued. As you've comprehended World Tao, you still have more to improve. Since the world prison is still useful for you, you'd better stay there to meditate for the rest of your time. By the time the Firmament Territory Feast begins, I believe you'll completely break the world prison. Yes, Jian Wushuang said, and seriously nodded. Within just 2 days, he had already seen many strange things in the world prison. The world prison did play a great role in his comprehension of World Tao, much more useful than Six-Story Pagoda to slaughter Tao. In addition, the comprehension of Tao is only one aspect of strength, and the secret skill is also crucial to the improvement of strength, said Emperor Shao. Jian Wushuang listened to him carefully. The secret skill is a technique that is developed based on the application of weapon Tao after one's comprehension of Tao reaches a certain level. It has various kinds, most of which are used as offensive power. Secret skills have distinctions between strong and weak. In the eternal world, secret skills are divided into plenty of levels according to its power, among which the most common and the weakest one are rank 1 secret skill, which is also what you are now qualified to cultivate. Rank 1 secret skill. Jian Wushuang felt a bit enticed. Rank 1 secret skill is just the most common skill, but for warriors at the level of skyscraping realm, it's totally different when he creates the secret skill. His battle strength would even rise to a new level even if he only creates the most common rank 1 secret skill. Emperor Shao continued. For example, in the ancient world, the Dark Emperor, who is known as the one with number 1 offensive power, has created his secret skill. After the last matchup with him, you must know how strong his secret skill power is, right? Well, Jian Wushuang nodded seriously. The secret skill of Dark Emperor is horribly powerful. Horrible powerful, scorned Emperor Shao. That move created by Dark Emperor is somewhat considered as a secret skill, or it may just reach the threshold of rank 1 secret skill. According to their levels of rank 1 secret skill, i.e., elementary, advanced, and superior, the move created by Dark Emperor narrowly belongs to the elementary level. The elementary narrowly reach its requirements. Jian Wushuang was shocked. He had thought that the move of Dark Emperor was incredibly powerful, but he now found it had just reached the elementary level. So how strong was a real elementary rank 1 secret skill, advanced or even superior level? What about the secret skill beyond rank 1? After all, the time you cultivated until now is too short, and there are only 3 years left. You know nothing about secret skill. If you want to create it entirely by yourself, even if you have a high level of talent, I'm afraid it will take a very long time. So, then Emperor took out an interspatial ring and handed it to Jian Wushuang. Within this interspatial ring, there are a few secret skills, all of which are secret skills of sword principle created by warriors of sword principle in the eternal world. You can take these secret skills to research, investigate, and use as references. In this way, you would greatly shorten the time you spend on cultivation. After all, you are not that powerful now. Even though I gave you the secret skill created by experts of sword principle above eternal realm, you can't understand it. So the secret skill of sword principle within the interspatial ring is mostly created by experts of sword principle at the level of divine realm. Chapter 6:12, 3 years. Chapter 6:12, 3 years. Taking the interspatial ring from Emperor Shao, Jian Wushuang looked slightly excited. There were so many secret skills of sword principle. Even if these secret skills were created by warriors of sword principle at the level of skyscraping realm and divine realm, any secret skill of sword principle was so mysterious to Jian Wushuang. After all, he could never create a secret skill himself. These secret skills of sword principle were extremely useful to him. In addition to these secret skills of sword principle, I will give you 10 opportunities to receive my instruction in the next 3 years. If you don't have a clear understanding of World Tao or secret skills of sword principle, you can turn to me. However, you only have 10 opportunities, so you should make good use of them. Emperor Xiao said, I see. Thank you so much for your guidance. Jian Wushuang was pleasantly surprised with deep feeling through his burning eyes. Emperor Xiao was at the peak of the eternal world. Now he promised Jian Wushuang to instruct him 10 times. These 10 opportunities that Emperor Xiao agreed to give him. Even if there was only one opportunity, countless geniuses and experts in the eternal world would fight over it. Go ahead. Emperor Xiao waved his hand. Jian Wushuang gave a bow to Emperor Xiao, turned, and headed to the world prison. Emperor Xiao looked at Jian Wushuang sweeping into the world prison as a smile slowly grew on his face. This little fellow was born with a high aptitude. Also, he has built himself a perfect foundation by cultivating heavenly creation skill, so his perception has been enhanced greatly. 3 years for others is just a passing moment, while it is enough for him to improve his strength. The only thing that I'm not sure about is how far he can go. Emperor Xiao smiled slightly. Emperor Xiao gave him so many resources and even personal advice. Such a rare opportunity could help ordinary people improve greatly in 3 years, let alone a super genius like Jian Wushuang. In the world prison, the giant hands entirely formed by world energy flew wildly over Jian Wushuang. As Jian Wushuang gradually comprehended World Tao, these giant hands became more powerful at an increasingly faster speed. The attacks almost drove him to desperation. The respected Emperor Xiao was always good to me, and he offered me so many opportunities. These 3 years are absolutely a great chance for me. I will never waste a second of these 3 years racking my brain to improve myself as much as possible. As for how far I can go eventually, it all depends 3 years later. Jian Wushuang's eyes twinkled with ambition. From this day on, Jian Wushuang began working on his cultivation earnestly. His cultivation of world body was separated from that of slaughter body. The world body, staying at the world prison, improved World Tao with the help of world prison. At the same time, his interspatial ring inside possessed many manuals of sword principle concerning World Tao. He could meditate on the World Tao while studying those manuals. If he encountered some bottlenecks or had no way to proceed, he would get out from the world prison to ask Emperor Xiao. Emperor Xiao was the supreme being in the eternal world, and he was also good at applying World Tao. Although secret skill of sword principle wasn't the strong point of Emperor Xiao, it was more than enough to direct Jian Wushuang. On the other hand, the slaughter body of Jian Wushuang was sent by Di Jing to a place called Slaughter Zone, where there were numerous minds and souls that had been slaughtered and invaded thoroughly into experts of sword principle of Crazy Demon. These crazy demons began attacking him immediately when they saw him. Jian Wushuang did nothing but put up a desperate fight. In the following days, his slaughter body, which was inside the slaughter zone, continued waging an intense fight with them nearly every day. What his interspatial ring possessed was also the secret skill of sword principle created by many warriors of sword principle at the level of Cloud Realm and Divine Realm given by Emperor Xiao. These secret skills of sword principle were all aimed at Slaughter Tao. Also, with the assistance of Six-Story Pagoda, his Slaughter Tao enhanced at an extremely high speed. The 2 original bodies, which stayed in different places, were inspired by different Daos and explored different secret skills of sword principle without being affected by each other. With the combination of such a unique and rare cultivation environment and his talented perception, Jian Wushuang's strength improved at an amazing rate. As spring went and autumn came, time rolled on. In a flash, 3 years passed. In the huge garden, Emperor Xiao sat on a bamboo chair, reading a thread-bound book alone. This thread-bound book was just a travel book written by a man at the level of skyscraping realm in the ancient world, who traveled around the plane world. The book described some of his experiences in each plane world. Logically, a man at the level of skyscraping realm was nothing but a worm to Emperor Xiao, but the travel book written by him was very appealing to Emperor Xiao. 1 hour went by in a blink of an eye. Emperor Xiao finally closed the book and put it into his interspatial ring. Then his eyes couldn't help but turn to the world prison beside him. In these 3 years, the little guy has made much progress. He is a true successor of my old friend. Emperor Xiao praised secretly. In the past 3 years, he had witnessed every improvement Jian Wushuang made and clearly knew how much work he had put in. Unfortunately, he still can't completely break the world prison. Emperor Xiao was slightly disappointed. If Jian Wushuang could break his world prison in this 3-year period, it would be really perfect. But he knew that Jian Wushuang had to multitask to meditate the secret skill of sword principle within the 3 years. It was quite incredible for him to achieve what he had, so it was not necessary to require more of him. Just then, with a sudden change of his expression, Emperor Xiao immediately looked towards the void, where the inner space began abruptly twisting and turning. Soon a gorgeous yet cold figure slowly walked out from the twisting inner space, showing up before Emperor Xiao. It was a white-robed woman. She was elegantly beautiful with a breathing-taking coldness. Also, she was very cold, causing the surrounding environment to appear to freeze into chilly ice as long as she showed up. "Father!" The white-robed woman looked at Emperor Xiao and leaned slightly. She was Emperor Xiao's daughter with such a gorgeous and cold vibe. Undoubtedly, this delicately beautiful woman was Long Rushuang. "You're back." Emperor Xiao looked at Long Rushuang, apathetic. "I have come to say goodbye to you, father. I suppose I won't come back again," Long Rushuang said, as her voice sounded steady. Emperor Xiao's face became abruptly severe. "Goodbye? Anything else?" "Yes," Long Rushuang nodded smilingly. "It is mother. She personally commanded me." Before Long Rushuang had finished speaking, Emperor Xiao waved his hand and clapped the chair violently. The chair, which was obviously made of some unique materials, reduced into dust. "Ms. Lung, that bitch." Emperor Xiao's voice sounded in anger. Chapter 613, Comprehension of the First Occult Level. Chapter 613, Comprehension of the First Occult Level. "That bitch must be crazy," said Emperor Xiao, with anger burning in his eyes. Lung Rushuang remained silent when she heard that. At this moment, Long Rushuang noticed the world prison beside her. At the same time, she also noticed the existence of Jian Wushuang in the world prison. "Is he inside?" With complexity flashing through her face, Long Rushuang walked towards the world prison. In the world prison, Jian Wushuang was sitting there alone. Numerous giant hands formed into an offensive force, mounting an attack on him. When this force almost approached him, an immaterial power, however, gushed forth from his body, smashing those giant hands easily. For 3 years, his world body had been staying in the world prison. With his continuous improvement of the world Tao, it became easier and easier to cope with the attacks from the world prison. Up to now, there was only one last step from completely breaking the world prison. I have a vague sense that I've reached the last step but I still need to work hard to obtain full comprehension of it. Jian Wushuang frowned. According to Emperor Shao, only by fully understanding the first occult level of world Dao could he completely break the world prison. Now, it seemed that he was still a little short of fully mastering the first occult level. Jian Wushuang. A cold voice suddenly sounded. Jian Wushuang was so familiar with this voice. He immediately looked up at the void at front and saw a gorgeous fairy-like woman stood there with a proud, aloof air of nonchalance. He was mesmerized by her every movement. There was only one such beautiful and cold woman in this world. I haven't seen you for many years. How are you, Miss Lung? Jian Wushuang was pleasantly surprised to see Lung Rushuang again. I'm going to leave the ancient world, and I'll probably never come back, Lung Rushuang said directly. Really? Jian Wushuang's brows knitted in thought. She would leave soon and never come back. I have been staying for a long time in the ancient world, and you are the only person here that I've been acquainted with. Or I should say, we're somewhat friends. Before leaving here, I want to play you a song to remember how we got to know each other. Lung Rushuang took a deep look at Jian Wushuang, and then a white jade chair appeared behind her. Lung Rushuang slowly sat down, and then an ancient zither with a pattern of dragon and phoenix appeared before her. This scene made Jian Wushuang narrow his eyes. Unique and marvelous, Lung Rushuang's melody exerted profound and far-reaching abilities. During his stay in Tang Dynasty, Jian Wushuang still remembered it when he met Lung Rushuang for the first time. When he lived in her nature residence that month, Lung Rushuang played her zither every day. Influenced by her melody, he had taken several big steps forward within that 1 month. Now, Lung Rushuang began playing again. Taking a deep breath, Jian Wushuang immediately concentrated on it. After a few moments of silence, Lung Rushuang's jade-like fingers slowly plucked the strings. Such a heavenly melody, with magical powers, resounded throughout the world prison, holding a particular fascination for Jian Wushuang, who had been focused in it for a long time. The pleasant melody continued to ring. Melodious, but slightly sad, it put a bleaker spin on the whole world. Closing his eyes, he knit his eyebrows slightly. He could feel the sadness and desolation carried by this beautiful melody, as well as a touch of frustration. Also, the melody contained marvelous power that attracted Jian Wushuang to keep thinking in the world Tao regardless. He had still been a little confused about the first occult level of world Tao, but now he was suddenly enlightened and came to an understanding. There was nothing but silence in the world prison. That magnificent melody slowly stopped. Closing his eyes, Jian Wushuang stood there. As the attacking giant hands had already quieted down, he was involved in the inside of Comprehension. Before him, Lung Rushuang had put her zither away, standing up and taking a deep look at Jian Wushuang. Then she disappeared immediately with her body flashing past the world prison. In the huge garden, Emperor Shao stood there with his hands behind the back. That beautiful yet lofty figure gave him a bow and turned around, backing towards the wormhole and disappearing without a trace. At the sight of this scene, Emperor Zhao's face grew gloomy. He clasped his hands, and his body was shaking slowly. Nobody had clue what he was thinking. Buzzing. At this moment, the world prison established entirely by world energy suddenly began to tremble violently. What happened? Emperor Shao immediately looked in the direction of world prison. As the world prison had been created by him, he knew about everything happened within the prison. That little fellow could make such a breakthrough. With the melody played by Rushuang, he even obtained the full comprehension of the first occult level of world Tao. Under the gaze of Emperor Shao, that steady and unbreakable world prison was abruptly affected by another world energy and then began falling apart. In a blink of an eye, the world prison had completely melted into world energy, vanishing from the world. A figure in a black robe stood in the middle of the world prison. The world prison is simply a means of applying world energy. Before this, I thought the combination of world energy was extremely intriguing, but now I don't think it is something of a mystery when I fully understood the first occult level of world Tao, said Jian Wushuang, feeling a bit of excitement. This world prison was an application of world Tao. As Jian Wushuang had realized the first occult level of world Tao, he could also create a world prison of the same quality if he wanted. But the world prison created by him was weaker in range and intensity than that of Emperor Shao. Anyway, I've thoroughly understood the first occult level of world Tao, said Jian Wushuang, with a brief smile. I should thank Lung Rushuang for her help. Without her melody, it wouldn't be that easy for me to understand the occult level. Well, where's Lung Rushuang? Jian Wushuang looked around for her, but found nothing but Emperor Shao. Hey, kid! Emperor Shao shouted to him at the middle of the garden. Emperor Shao, Jian Wushuang came before Emperor Shao and asked, Is she gone? Chapter 614, One Step Towards Heaven. Chapter 614, One Step Towards Heaven. I'm off. Emperor Shao nodded slightly. Take your time. Jian Wushuang frowned. As far as he knew, it had been a long time since Lung Rushuang left the ancient world. She might just come back one day, but she didn't stay for long and had left immediately, leaving only a greeting behind. Anything happened? Jian Wushuang thought. Just now he also heard a dismal, sorrowful, and helpless emotion from the zither. Perhaps something did happen to Lung Rushuang. Hey, kid, you're worried about my daughter, aren't you? Emperor Shao suddenly looked at Jian Wushuang. In a daze for a second, Jian Wushuang nodded slowly and said, Miss Lung is a friend of mine, and she helped me before, so I would obviously be concerned about her safety. That's all. Emperor Shao took a deep look at Jian Wushuang and continued, You're lucky, little fellow. My daughter was born with an icy heart body with which she has been aloof by nature and barely has any emotions. Such a cold personality resulted in only a few people being able to talk with her, even though she has lots of servants in the eternal world. As for friends, since my daughter's birth, no one has ever been recognized as her friend by her. You are the first and only one. What? Jian Wushuang was shocked. Lung Rushuang, since her birth, never had a single friend she talked with. Maybe it's because you've helped her transform icy heart poison in her body, or there is something on your body, or a certain temperament that attracts her. Anyway, you are her first friend indeed. Emperor Shao said, Little fellow, although my daughter had numerous genius pursuers in eternal world, she never spoke with them. But you could make friends with her. Wouldn't it be lucky? This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you must grasp it. Emperor Zhao's words confounded Jian Wushuang. It was true that Lung Rushuang was his friend, but it seemed that Emperor Shao wanted their relationship to push forward. Well, let's forget it. Now, the most urgent thing is the Firmament Territory Feast. Emperor Shao became firm. In 2 days, the Firmament Territory Feast will be held. It would be great if you can fully master the first occult level of World Tao before the feast. You must make a breakthrough. Breakthrough. Jian Wushuang could not help but smile. Only warriors who achieved the level of skyscraping realm were qualified to participate in that Firmament Territory Feast. Jian Wushuang now, however, merely attained the level of Nine Cloud Realm. Before the Firmament Territory Feast began, he naturally hoped to break through and to take the first step of the Heaven-defying 4 steps. The first volume of Heavenly Creation Skill is only for building a perfect foundation. That heaven-defying 4 steps is the real beginning of cultivation. Now you have already reached perfection in all aspects, and with the accumulation of these 3 years, your understanding of Tao has been greatly improved. It should not be difficult to take that step, said Emperor Shao. Sure, Jian Wushuang nodded in absolute confidence. Now he had already reached and even exceeded the requirements of the first step. Just in a moment, the slaughter body of Jian Wushuang arrived with Di Jing. In the past 3 years, Jian Wushuang had made the greatest progress in World Tao. Most incredibly, he even directly obtained a thorough understanding of the first occult level of World Tao. His slaughter Tao, directed by Di Jing, had also made amazing progress. Not as fast as the World Tao, slaughter body has nearly obtained the full understanding of the first occult level of slaughter Tao in the past 3 years. Showing up together, the 2 original bodies, world body and slaughter body, fused into one body. Then Jian Wushuang began making breakthroughs in the castle. Everything went smoothly while Jian Wushuang wasn't impeded during the process of breaking through. Only half a day later, great changes had taken place in the body and spiritual power of Jian Wushuang. Heaven-treading realm, the first step of heaven-defying 4 steps, had been achieved. Stepping into heaven-treading realm, which corresponded with the skyscraping realm for ordinary warriors, Jian Wushuang realized that there was something different between the two. Incredible! It was incredible! Jian Wushuang widened his eyes full of shock. He had previously speculated that heaven-treading realm, the first step of heaven-defying 4 steps, differed from the skyscraping realm of ordinary warriors. After so many guesses, Jian Wushuang was completely stunned when he knew the truth. The biggest difference between heaven-treading realm and skyscraping realm of ordinary warriors lay in one's talent rather than their flesh, spiritual power, or anything else. Yes, it is talent. As soon as heaven-treading realm was reached, Jian Wushuang immediately found that his comprehension was significantly enhanced, much higher than before at the level of 9-cloud realm. At least several times, even 10 times improved. This is real talent in comprehension. Maybe he had improved much in the period of heaven-treading realm. Once he took the second step deification realm, his talent in comprehension would be weakened, but at present he did improve. When Jian Wushuang tried to meditate on the World Tao or Slaughter Tao, he discovered that his comprehension was a good dozen times faster than before. 1 day of meditation now was equal to 10 days before. Heaven-defying realm. This is truly the heaven-defying realm. Even Jian Wushuang sucked in a breath directly, and only managed to calm down after a protracted pause. Now, it seems that heaven-treading realm will be my highest talent and fastest cultivation stage. I'm afraid that cultivation will not be that speedy when I take the second step in the future. Jian Wushuang murmured. He also knew that in heavenly creation skill, any kind of unique ability would only strengthen one's realm and would be weakened when another breakthrough occurred. Like the first volume of heavenly creation skill, the ability would be weakened once primordial gold core was achieved. Unfortunately, I couldn't reach the heaven-treading realm 3 years ago. Otherwise, after 3 years of hard work, my strength would be improved a lot. Jian Wushuang thought, feeling regret secretly. After completely calming himself down, Jian Wushuang came before Emperor Shao. It seems that the breakthrough went very smoothly, didn't it? Emperor Shao looked at Jian Wushuang with a slight smile and asked, "You've achieved the first step. How does it feel? Anything unique?" Although Emperor Shao knew the magic of heavenly creation skill, he did not know what unique ability heaven-defying 4 steps had. Jian Wushuang hesitated for a moment. didn't conceal anything, and directly announced the truth that he had made improvements in his talent of comprehension. Chapter 6:15, To the Eternal World. Chapter 6:15, To the Eternal World. Talent in comprehension. Emperor Xiao was aghast that Jian Wushuang had improved his talent in comprehension significantly. Such a fantastic skill. It's possible to build a perfect foundation by working hard. However, the innate talent, how could the heavenly creation skill change it? Emperor Xiao gasped in admiration. The foundation could be built with hard work, but innate talent was born. It was possible to build a perfect foundation by working hard, but to change one's talent in comprehension, Emperor Xiao thought it was beyond logic. Since you have made the breakthrough, say goodbye to your friends before you leave. It may be years before you can return. Emperor Xiao said, Okay. Jian Wushuang nodded and left. Jian Wushuang didn't go back to the Nanyang continent, as he had already settled his matters there. In a huge black castle, 3 people sat at a table which held jugs of wine. Their intention was clear, to get thoroughly drunk. The trio consisted of Jian Wushuang, Yang Zixuan, and Wang Yuan. Third bro, let's drink our body weight in wine. I've brought the best from my collection, Wang Yuan said, pretending that he could not bear to part with his best wine. It's a rare chance. Let's have a good drink today, Jian Wushuang said with a laugh. Jian Wushuang had met Wang Yuan not long after he returned to the Black Castle. Wang Yuan had lost considerable weight over the recent years. He had been heavy-set, but he now had a more average appearance. It was because he had been working hard in recent years. During these years, Wang Yuan had been learning alchemy from a mysterious alchemist who did not seem to be from the ancient world. The alchemist was strong and skilled, but bad-tempered. Under his tutelage, Wang Yuan had suffered. I wish fourth sister was here, Wang Yuan said with a sigh. Fourth sister. Jian Wushuang recalled the shy girl, Su Ro. Su Ro had a unique body. After her body had awakened in the Nanyang continent, she had been taken away by a mysterious expert. None of them knew where she had been taken. Jian Wushuang had asked Emperor Xiao about Su Ro and his father, but Emperor Xiao had refused to tell him, saying that Jian Wushuang would know when it was the right time. Jian Wushuang couldn't do anything about it. Third bro, the eternal world is more dangerous than the ancient world. Be careful, Wang Yuan warned him. It's a pity that my master has a task for me. Otherwise, I would get an ancient world token to attend the Firmament Territory feast with you. Yang Zixuan said. Jian Wushuang smiled in acknowledgement. During these 3 years, he had become familiar with Yang Zixuan's strength. The latter was strong enough to attend the Firmament Territory feast, but as he was Emperor Zhao's personal disciple, he had been tasked to do something else. Don't worry. I experienced so much alone in the divine land. I know how to protect myself. Jian Wushuang reassured them with a smile. Inwardly, he cautioned himself not to be complacent. He knew that the eternal world was not the divine land. They drank and talked for the entire night. The next morning, Emperor Xiao, Di Jing, Yang Zixuan, and Wang Yuan stood in the Black Castle's garden. They looked at Jian Wushuang. This was the day that Jian Wushuang would leave the ancient world. Master Emperor Xiao, the Sword Marquis Mansion is counting on you, Jian Wushuang said. Set your heart at rest. I will protect the Sword Marquis Mansion. Emperor Xiao said. Thank you so much, Emperor Xiao, Jian Wushuang said with a bow. He trusted Emperor Xiao. Under Emperor Zhao's secret protection, no one in the ancient world would be able to destroy the Sword Marquis Mansion. Right at this moment, the ancient world token in Jian Wushuang's hand suddenly shone and emitted a surge of power. In the next instant, clouds gathered and the wind blew. Has it begun? Jian Wushuang raised his head and saw a portal above him. The portal contained a special aura. This was Jian Wushuang's second time experiencing it. In his previous experience, Su Ming had crumbled the pledge in the Darkness Temple, and Xue Feng, a divine realm expert of the Universal Thunder Sect, had emerged from a portal. The aura in that portal was the same as today's. Jian Wushuang knew that it was the aura of the eternal world. Taking a deep breath, Jian Wushuang looked at them and said, "Goodbye, everyone. Bye." Emperor Shao waved. "Third bro, take care." Wang Yuan and Yang Zishuan said in unison. Jian Wushuang nodded and looked around. Ancient world, divine land, and Nanyang continent. Bye. Then Jian Wushuang jumped and flew into the portal. Soon he disappeared, and the portal closed. Emperor Shao and the rest who remained behind looked at one another. "The eternal world, I'm coming." Jian Wushuang had left. He had left the ancient world. Perhaps he would return, but that would be years later. His heroic deeds would be celebrated in every corner of the ancient world. Chapter 616, The Eternal World. Chapter 616, The Eternal World. The eternal world was vast. It was full of experts and killers. Survival would be a more difficult endeavor in this world. Firmament territory was considered a huge territory in the eternal world, and it controlled millions of ancient worlds. There were many warriors in the ancient world, but they were far weaker than those in the eternal world. Warriors in the ancient world could only reach the skyscraping realm. The divine realm was inaccessible to them. To become stronger, they had to go to the eternal world. Usually, the only way in was to get an ancient world token and attend the Firmament Territory Feast, which was held every 3,000 years. Firmament Territory Feast was the biggest gathering in the Firmament Territory. It was a dream destination for geniuses. Each Firmament Territory Feast would attract innumerable geniuses, which included skyscraping realm experts from both the ancient world and the Firmament Territory. If their displays of talent and potential at the Firmament Territory Feast were appreciated by Firmament Territory's top sects, they would receive many resources and treasures. Today was the opening day of the Firmament Territory Feast. Geniuses had come in great numbers. Among the ancient worlds, husband, father, master, an armor-clad and strapping middle-aged man with sword-shaped eyebrows was saying goodbye to his family and friends. His name was Feng. He was a born fighter and peerless genius. He had reached the peak in this ancient world with his unique gift in less than 100 years. He had been unbeatable in this ancient world 1,500 years ago. There were many skyscraping realm experts, and several had created their own secret skills in this ancient world, but he was known as the strongest expert. If the skyscraping realm experts with secret skills banded together, they would still be no match for him. He had remained unbeatable for a long time. He had also spared no effort to elevate his son and other relations to the skyscraping realm. His entire life appeared perfect. Many experts in this ancient world respected and admired him, but only he knew that he had felt lonely for 1,500 years. To have no rival was lonely. He had been suffering from loneliness for 1,500 years. Today, the Firmament Territory Feast would begin. His inner flame flared up again. "I will be back. It wouldn't take long." After saying goodbye to them, Feng waved and flew into the portal. In another ancient world, a white-haired elder stood at the top of a mountain, looking up at the portal above him. The eternal world. His eyes were filled with frenzied excitement. He stepped forward in his bare, white feet. The white-haired man entered the portal. No one noticed that the expert who had suffered from loneliness in this ancient world for 2,000 years had left. This white-haired elder was Huang. There was a myth in this ancient world that Huang was unbeatable. 800 years ago, Huang had disappeared. All thought that he had died or left. In fact, he had concealed his identity and meditated alone in the mountains for all these years. That was because nothing in the ancient world held his interest. Today, he left with the ancient world token. Feng and Huang were top geniuses who had been alone for years in their respective ancient worlds. The Firmament Territory Feast would be their chance for new adventures. In these ancient worlds, there were many people like them. The Firmament Territory Feast was held every 3,000 years, which was a long time for people in ancient worlds. People like Feng and Huang were considered lucky, unlike most of the others. Some had no ancient world token. Even more tragically, some managed to obtain tokens but died before the Firmament Territory Feast. Only a few of them eventually made it to the Firmament Territory Feast. The Firmament Territory Feast was a very rare opportunity for them. No one would miss it. They arrived at a vast drill ground. Its gem ground was transparent, a sight that no one from the ancient worlds had seen before. People arrived at the drill ground in succession. Soon, at least 100,000 people had gathered there. The arrivals included men and women of all ages who were dressed differently. All of them looked around curiously after arriving at the drill ground. In the crowd, a black-robed young man with a long sword on his back surveyed his surroundings. Is this the eternal world? Jian Wushuang frowned. He noticed that the eternal world was different from the ancient world. Such a stable space. Jian Wushuang touched the air and found that the space was much more stable than that of the ancient world. In the ancient world, Dark Emperor's secret skill could produce a space rift, and Xue Feng could heavily damage the space with simple moves. But the eternal world was different. The space of the eternal world was much more stable. Jian Wushuang was much stronger than Dark Emperor now, but he knew that he couldn't do any harm to this space, even if he were 100 or 1,000 times stronger. Chapter 6:17, A Sea of Geniuses. Chapter 6:17, A Sea of Geniuses. Moreover, Jian Wushuang realized that the spiritual power and origin energy in the eternal world were much richer. The origin energy was at least 100 times richer than that of the ancient world. Jian Wushuang had cultivated the 4th level of the Earth Core Palace in the Monster Continent. Compared with the eternal world, the origin energy there was also much weaker. However, this was just an ordinary place in the eternal world. The ancient world is incomparable to the eternal world. Jian Wushuang shook his head. Just like the disparity between Nanyang Continent and the Divine Land, the difference between the ancient world and the eternal world was beyond words. The skyscraping realm experts from ancient worlds around Jian Wushuang looked around and gasped in admiration. Suddenly, Jian Wushuang saw a man he knew, Dark Emperor. Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang had spotted Dark Emperor, a black-robed man with a cold face. Jian Wushuang had met him before. Dark Emperor noticed Jian Wushuang too. He walked towards Jian Wushuang, accompanied by a black-skinned elder with a frail and thin frame. Jian Wushuang recognized the elder. Dark Emperor, Sir Ming. As Jian Wushuang looked at them, a smile spread on his face. Dark Emperor had done him a favor when Jian Wushuang was dealing with Su Ming. There were no grudges between the two of them. Although Jian Wushuang disliked Dark Emperor's selfishness, he was happy to meet an expert who came from the same ancient world. Sir Ming was a top expert as famous as Dark Emperor. As they came from the same ancient world, the trio naturally stuck together. "Are you Jian Wushuang? I've heard of you." Sir Ming looked Jian Wushuang. "It's my honor to be known by you." Jian Wushuang smiled. "We are in the eternal world. Just call us by our names." "My name is Ming Lu." Sir Ming said, "Call me Wu Xian. I will be in trouble if anyone here wants to kill me just because he dislikes the name of Dark Emperor." Dark Emperor said. Upon hearing this, Jian Wushuang was surprised. Dark Emperor and Sir Ming were the unbridled top two experts in their ancient world. However, they seemed cautious and did not dare to use their titles in the eternal world. "It seems that only the three of us from our ancient world made it here to the Firmament Territory feast," Dark Emperor commented as he looked around and realized that he didn't know anyone else. There was another drill ground, but fewer people were gathered there. "Is that another drill ground over there?" "I guess people. There are geniuses of the eternal world." Geniuses of the eternal world. Unlike them, people on the other drill ground were familiar with the eternal world. They cast occasional glances at the ancient world visitors. Those glances were full of disdain. It was clear that the geniuses of the eternal world looked down on them. The eternal world geniuses had an innate sense of superiority because the ancient worlds were plane worlds at a lower level, while the eternal world had the dominant position of heavenly laws. A super expert in our ancient world once reached eternal realm in the eternal world. When he returned, he said that the gap between the eternal world and the ancient world was huge. A purple-clothed elder in the crowd spoke aloud. "People in the eternal world are born in particularly favorable natural conditions. Regardless of their talent, warriors will reach skyscraping realm and comprehend Tao within 100 years. Those who are talented can make it in decades. That's a built-in advantage we don't have." His words caused a great stir in the crowd. In the eternal world, no matter how little talent warriors had, they could easily reach skyscraping realm within 100 years. But in the ancient world, only a few could reach skyscraping realm. In the divine land where Jian Wushuang came from, only 3 had reached skyscraping realm. They were the 3 ancestors. Warriors in ancient worlds had to accumulate plenty of experience before they could even hope for an opportunity to reach skyscraping realm. However, skyscraping realm experts in the eternal world were common. Comparisons are odious. Many were complaining. Even the most ordinary places in the eternal world possess spiritual power and origin energy at levels 100 times that of the ancient world. With such an environment for cultivation, of course they're stronger than us. Dark Emperor muttered with dissatisfaction. "They should look down on us. We are much weaker." Jian Wushuang thought. "It is only because they have a better cultivating environment. We will be no weaker than them in future." Ming Lu was unwilling to concede. The skyscraping realm experts of the ancient worlds continued to discuss. They felt uncomfortable under the watch of those disdainful eyes. Right then, boom, a powerful force suddenly arose from the drill ground where the geniuses of the eternal world had gathered. Chapter 6:18, Excitement. Chapter 6:18, Excitement. "Oh, Yingxian, bastard, I found you." At the drill ground where the geniuses of the eternal world were gathered, a shout sounded. A white-robed young man was aggressively brandishing his long gold spear. The power had burst out from the long gold spear. The long spear glittered with gold and shone like the sun. It immediately drew the attention of all the warriors. That spear move. Audible gasps were heard around the ancient world camp as warriors saw the spear. His secret skill is so terrifying. Dark Emperor narrowed his eyes, and Ming Lu stiffened. Jian Wushuang also couldn't help looking at the man. He perfectly mastered a pure light Dao. The spearmanship he displayed was an advanced, rank 1 secret skill that he created himself. Jian Wushuang surmised. The man being attacked was a well-groomed young man holding a folding fan. As the white-robed man approached him, the young man lightly waved his folding fan in the air. As he turned his hand, waves erupted. The white-robed man's spear was engulfed by the waves, and its power was quickly weakened. Soon its attack was neutralized. What? That's it. He defused it with such a slight move. People of the ancient world camp cried out in astonishment. They had thought that the white-robed man was strong because of his deep Tao comprehension and his powerful secret skill. But on seeing the well-groomed man's move, they realized that he was much stronger. He has a high comprehension of water drop Tao. He has nearly completed the occult in the first level. Jian Wushuang thought. After defusing the white-robed man's attack, the well-groomed man made another move, which seemed languid and simple. But as the folding fan moved, a storm of terrible sword essence was released. Whoosh! Almost instantaneously, a sparkling sword light reached the white-robed man from over 30 meters away. The white-robed man looked grave when he saw the incoming attack. He immediately thrust his long spear, and it rushed forward like a golden dragon. Bang! The two forces collided with great force. Geniuses of the eternal world standing nearby dodged, as its impact reverberated through the immediate area. The impact of the collision continued to rush to the ground, but caused it no harm. In the air, the white-robed man gave a choked cry and stepped back in confusion. His right hand, which held the long spear, trembled slightly. "Kill me? You're not strong enough," the well-groomed man said with a smile. His voice was like a warm and gentle breeze. The white-robed man's eyes blazed angrily and bitterly. He had already been defeated. So strong. These two men are terrible, especially the well-groomed man. He simultaneously comprehended water drop Tao and gale Tao, both at high levels. He has also created a powerful secret skill. He is much more powerful than me. The skyscraping realm warriors of the ancient world camp looked at them in shock. They had witnessed every detail of the clash. That was why they were shocked. They were so strong, stronger than most of them. God, how could they be so strong? Dark Emperor was despaired inwardly. He had created his own secret skill. Therefore, he had been confident that he was better than average among the skyscraping realm warriors in the ancient world camp. Just now, he had been angry at receiving disdainful glances from the geniuses of the eternal world. He had thought that their pride was unjustified. Now, he knew that they really were very strong. Either of the two men could defeat or kill him easily. They were stronger than him in Tao comprehension and secret skills. He did not even have the courage to fight them. Furthermore, they were just two ordinary warriors among the eternal world's geniuses. He could tell from their playful smiles. The well-groomed man was stronger, but he was not necessarily ranked in the top 10. Are they geniuses of the eternal world? Jian Wushuang muttered as he looked at the two men with blazing eyes. He had reached a new stage after 3 years of earnest cultivation. He had lost interest fighting Dark Emperor, Ming Lu, or people like them. He was now more interested in challenging the geniuses of the eternal world. having witnessed their fight, Jian Wushuang's heart surged with excitement and battle intent. Several other geniuses in the ancient world camp had the same sentiments as Jian Wushuang. Eternal world. This is the eternal world. Experts and geniuses are as numerous as clouds. Everyone here is no weaker than me. Hee, I'm expecting to fight them. People like Feng, Huang, and Jian Wushuang felt excitement instead of fear. They had been unrivaled for too many years. Now, they had rivals. Chapter 619, Battle of the Geniuses. Chapter 619, Battle of the Geniuses. Everyone's attention was drawn to these two men who had abruptly started to fight. You two, what are you doing? A cold voice echoed through the area. A figure appeared and hovered between the two drill grounds. The new arrival was a burly middle-aged man who was filled with killing intent and emitted a terrifying aura. His appearance drew shock from the warriors, including the white-robed man and the well-groomed man who had been fighting. This man directed his aura towards them, making it hard for them to catch their breath, as though they were pinned down by a huge mountain. My lord, he started the fight. I have to defend myself, right? The well-groomed man responded. The middle-aged man noticed the white-robed man's belligerent expression and instantly realized what had happened. During the Firmament Territory Feast, everyone is banned from fighting, except in certain places. Since you flouted that rule, you will be disqualified from taking part in the feast. Get out of here. As the man's words faded, an immaterial power assaulted the white-robed man. He did not even have a chance to defend himself, and was instantly thrown out of the drill ground. Ouyang Xian, I can't accept it. I can't. Everyone at the drill grounds could hear his howls clearly. Eventually, those sounds faded and finally died out. Listen, the Firmament Territory Feast is held by numerous sects in the Firmament Territory. It is a grand feast with strict rules. Just now, I administered the minimum punishment, but from now on, whoever breaks the rules will be killed without mercy. The middle-aged man's voice echoed coldly. The geniuses and warriors in the skyscraping realm level were shocked by this threat and naturally did not intend to violate the rules. The middle-aged man swept his gaze over the gathered crowd and continued. The feast is held every 3,000 years and is the grandest genius feast in the Firmament Territory. I know all of you come from different places. Some hail from the eternal world, but more of you are from the ancient world. However, during the feast, everyone is equal. We will only focus on your talent and strength. As long as your talent and strength are good enough, you will have a chance to join the top sects here. So the key point is that we will only judge you by your talent and strength. Hearing this, the geniuses and warriors clasped their hands together in anticipation. There are 4 rounds in the Firmament Territory Feast. After each round, most of you will have been eliminated. The stronger are, the higher your chances of joining a sect. The first round of the Genius Battle will begin in an hour. You should prepare for it now. After his announcement, the middle-aged man closed his eyes and ignored the geniuses on the drill ground. The crowd stirred. 4 rounds of the Genius Battle. What will they be like? Many warriors were curious. Although I'm not sure what the Genius Battle is like, an elder from the ancient world said that the first round is very important. It'd be good if we could pass that round. The big sects might not be interested in us, but we could hope to become outer disciples in some small sects, a purple-haired elder said. Outer disciples? So, you mean we can only be outer disciples in small sects if we pass the first round? Many in the crowd frowned. Being an outer disciple just didn't compare with being an inner disciple, especially if one belonged to a small sect. The geniuses and warriors gathered here for the Firmament Territory Feast wanted to join the top sects. Joining a stronger sect would mean access to more cultivation resources and more room to cultivate and improve. Being only an outer disciple in a small sect would not satisfy most of the warriors. It's already an impressive achievement to become an outer disciple in a small sect. The elder mentioned that most people from the ancient world did not even manage to join a small sect. Instead, they wandered in the Firmament Territory when the feast was over. It's very dangerous here, and it'll be hard to survive if you don't have the protection of a sect, the purple-haired elder said, and sneered. Those who lacked confidence in their strength reacted visibly to this revelation. They knew that the purple-haired elder was right. They had just arrived here and were unfamiliar with the eternal world. They were also not strong enough. Without the protection from a sect, they would barely survive here. Anyway, we need to pass the first round at the very least. I'm not holding out hope for the other rounds, but I have to pass the first one. At a minimum, I'll have to pass the first round. Then I can try my best to pass as many of the subsequent rounds. The warriors from the ancient world stood with their hands clasped together as they made their resolutions for the feast. Soon 1 hour passed. The middle-aged man hovering in the void opened his eyes and waved his hand. A huge wormhole appeared at the perimeter of each drill ground. The battlefield of the first round is inside the wormhole, the man bellowed. For the first round, we will separate the ancient world and the eternal world. So there are 2 battlefields in 2 wormholes. One is for the ancient world, and the other is for the eternal world. These 2 battlefields won't have any connection. The warriors from the ancient world camp were relieved on hearing that. So in the first round, we are not going to fight with the geniuses from the eternal world. These geniuses from the eternal world have more cultivation resources, and they should be much stronger than us. Luckily, we are not going to fight them just yet. In this case, I think I stand a good chance to pass the first round. Chapter 620, Round 1 Rules. Chapter 620, Round 1 Rules. Having witnessed the ferocious fight between the 2 geniuses from the eternal world earlier, the ancient world warriors were relieved that they wouldn't fight eternal world warriors in the first round. Of course, while some were glad, others were disappointed. They are going to separate us in the first round. What a pity. It seems I'll only have a chance to challenge the geniuses from the eternal world in the second round. It will be very boring if there are the eternal world geniuses in the first round. The warriors who expressed disappointment were confident of their strength. They thought they were the real geniuses. For instance, Jian Wushuang was one of the warriors who felt that the first round would be unchallenging. Now, all of you can enter the wormhole, the middle-aged man said. The geniuses and warriors rushed into their respective wormholes without hesitating. The entry into the wormhole was relatively uneventful for the geniuses from the eternal world. For the ancient world, tens of thousands of people swarmed into the wormhole like locusts. Jian Wushuang also stepped into the wormhole without any hesitation. Soon, he found that he was on a vast plain with a dense jungle, some high mountains and rivers. Jian Wushuang glanced around the plain and noticed people standing near him. All of these people were at the skyscraping realm in the ancient world. They had just stepped into the wormhole and were very curious about this area. All scattered. Jian Wushuang thought to himself. On this seemingly endless plain, there were numerous warriors, but they were all scattered. Jian Wushuang's expression changed slightly. There was a token in his right hand that was emitting a unique power, but he didn't understand its purpose. What's the first round of the genius battle, and what are the rules? Jian Wushuang mumbled. right at this moment. Listen, the middle-aged man's voice echoed, clearly above the entire plain. In first round of the genius battle, what you need to do is to kill others. As for the rules that are used to judge if you can pass this round, I'm sorry to tell you, there are no rules. All of you are scattered over the plain. What you need to do is try your best to kill all the people around you and display your strength. Easy. We will announce the result when the time is right. Hearing this, all the warriors from the ancient world were stunned. No judgment rules. They would display their strength and get the results at the end. It seemed strange to everyone except Jian Wushuang, who understood that having no rules was the rule. No one knew the judgment rules, so no one would be confident of the result. Everyone would be nervous, so they would try their best to kill their opponents and display their strength. Each of you has a token now. That is your safety token. When your life is threatened, it will defend you against the attack, but you will also be immediately banished from the battlefield and disqualified from the feast. That means you don't need to worry about your safety here. The middle-aged man's voice still echoed in the void. The people on the battlefield finally understood the purpose of the token. Now, I declare that the first round of the Firmament Territory Feast has begun, the middle-aged man announced, and his voice gradually faded away. Abruptly, the plain erupted in riots. No rule, so it's based on your strength to kill as many people as possible. That means I have to kill others instead of hiding. The more people I kill, the greater strength I display. Then I will have a good chance to pass this round. Jian Wushuang squinted as his right hand slowly stretched towards his heart-killing sword. At the same time, he noticed there were more than 10 skyscraping realm warriors nearby. They were all observing this area with strong killing intents. Kill! Kill! After the 2 successive howls, one person made his move and triggered the rest to begin attacking. Without reason or logic, they tried their best to kill as many people as they could on the battlefield. Everyone on the battlefield was an enemy. The rampant killing broke out in the blink of an eye. Boom, 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 boom. Powerful roars resounded through the void as killings took place all over the battlefield. Jian Wushuang was solemn. He glanced around him as he held his heart-killing sword. Go to hell! An aquamarine hair woman with a ferocious look popped up beside Jian Wushuang. Her soft sword swiftly cut towards his throat like a lightning flash. She had already comprehended Gale Dao, so its speed was extremely fast. Hum! Jian Wushuang snorted, then thrust his sword in her direction. His speed was at least several times faster than the woman's. It was also sneaky and full of killing intent. His attack was launched after the woman's, but it reached its destination earlier at the front of her throat. How is that possible? The aquamarine hair woman looked terrified. Her words died as Jian Wushuang's longsword cut her throat. Her token was broke and blocked Jian Wushuang's attack. It emitted a shining light covering the woman and sent her out of the battlefield. Outside the drill ground, the aquamarine hair woman appeared again. She looked around and smiled bitterly. My strength is ranked 3rd in the ancient world. I never expected to be defeated by my first opponent in the first round of the genius battle. As Jian Wushuang had killed the woman with only one attack, all attention on the battlefield was drawn to him. There are still 13 people around me. I need to kill all of them. His eyes turned cold, and his figure swept out violently. Chapter 6:21, Killing with Abandon. Chapter 6:21, Killing with Abandon. When the first round of the genius battle began, rampant killing immediately broke out. Numerous people were gathered outside the battlefield. These people each had a jade slip and were quickly taking notes. In front of them, there was a huge screen which displayed thousands of small images. These images showed what the skyscraping realm experts in the ancient world were doing on the battlefield. This screen was called the mirror image. It was a unique technique that could be used to record any scene in any place. That meant that all the fighting taking place could be shown clearly in the mirror image. Number 69 image, the bald man with a battle axe. The voice was emotionless. Everyone turned their attention to the image. With his battle axe, a bald man cleaved two skyscraping realm who were attacking him. The two men died instantaneously. The axe did not lose its momentum as it continued its progress towards a majestic mountain and split it into two parts. He has comprehended the Earth Tao and created a higher level of advanced secret skill. Great comprehension. He passes the first round. Mark it immediately. Number 177 image, the burly middle-aged man in a thick armor. In the number 177 image, the man raised his sword-shaped eyebrows and stared at the 20 people in front of him. "My name is Feng." In a cold voice, the man hacked with his saber. The saber produced a blade light that went unerringly to its target like a rolling river. The blade light suffused the battlefield and immediately killed 4 skyscraping realm experts. The burly middle-aged man then flew through the battlefield and killed the remaining 2 people within 2 breaths. Genius Feng has already comprehended the destruction Tao. It also seems that he has totally figured out the first occult and created the higher level of the advanced secret skill. He is qualified to enter the second round. Mark it. Number 19 image, the black-robed youth with a long sword. Instantly, all people focused on the number 19 image and saw Jian Wushuang. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. With terrifying killing intent, the sword light rushed forward and killed 13 skyscraping realm experts in a couple minutes. Good comprehension of the slaughter Tao and his swordsmanship is extremely strong. So far, we don't know which level of the secret skill he has created, so he will be confirmed later. The cold voice spoke without pause, and his pronouncements were all continuously recorded in the jade slip. Thousands of fights were occurring simultaneously on the vast battlefield, all of which could be observed using the mirror image. When any expert displayed an amazing strength, the action would be immediately recorded, and he would be judged for second-round qualification. The fights in the battlefield for geniuses in the eternal world were recorded too. As long as the warriors displayed impressive strength on the battlefield, they wouldn't be ignored. Swoosh! A figure rushed through the crowd with a sword light suffused with terrifying killing intent. This sword light, with tremendous power, easily outclassed 3 skyscraping realm experts. It killed them instantly and sent them out of the battlefield. So strong. There were still 4 people nearby, and they all looked at the black-robed youth in terror. The black-robed youth was Jian Wushuang. After 3 years of earnest cultivation, Jian Wushuang had significantly improved his strength. His comprehension of Tao and secret skill were both much better than an ordinary skyscraping realm. Even Dark Emperor and Wu Xian would be easily killed by him. He would only need to use Slaughter Body to defeat these skyscraping realm who hadn't created any secret skills. Few people would catch Jian Wushuang's attention, and he would dispatch the rest with ease. It was very difficult for him to meet an expert whose strength was comparable to his. That was why he could easily kill all his opponents here. Go to hell! Once again, Jian Wushuang started the attack and immediately sent another 4 people out of the battlefield. Continue the killing. Jian Wushuang looked grave as he continued to fight. On the battlefield, the killing continued at increasing levels of aggression. Everyone knew that passing the first round depended on their strength. Since they all had tokens to protect themselves, no one was worried about dying and went all out to kill their opponents. Soon, 3 days had passed. During this time, most of the skyscraping realm had been weeded out. Only a few people remained on the battlefield. There was no doubt that survivors after the 3 days were the real experts. All of them possessed a good comprehension of Tao, and almost everyone had created their own secret skill. They were really much stronger than the ordinary skyscraping realm experts. On the plain, Jian Wushuang slowly walked forward and glanced around him. Occasionally, he would see an opponent and kill him immediately. In these 3 days, strong experts had emerged and were now recognized by others on the battlefield. Jian Wushuang's battle strength was at the top, so it was reasonable to rank him in the top 30. Many people would know of his reputation and chose to run when they saw him. Already 3 days. When on Earth will the first round be over? Jian Wushuang thought to himself. The first round had no rules, so they had to keep killing their opponents, but he didn't know when it would be over. Jian Wushuang suddenly stopped and raised his head. A red-robed woman had flown from the hill in front of him and was slowly walking towards him. She held a scarlet scythe and was filled with killing intent. She looked at him with a hint of excitement. Chapter 622, Xue Feng. Chapter 622, Xue Feng. You are Sword Emperor. The red-robed woman, standing in front of Jian Wushuang, asked in a voice tinged with excitement. Lady Red, the Scarlet Scythe, you are Xue Feng? Jian Wushuang stared back at the red-robed woman. After 3 days of frenzied killing, strong experts had risen to fame. Everyone now knew Jian Wushuang as Sword Emperor. His strength was acknowledged on this battlefield, and he was ranked in the top 30. Xue Feng had also become an expert during the 3 days. She had comprehended the raging fire Tao, and her strength was extremely terrifying. She had killed at least hundreds of skyscraping realm and was ranked in the top 30. These 3 days, I've killed more than 300 skyscraping realm, but their strength was mediocre, so I could beat them easily. But now, meeting you, finally, Xue Feng licked her lips and said, Hope you are good enough to challenge me. I feel the same. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly, his eyes reflecting his strong battle intent. He had also killed numerous skyscraping realm in the last 3 days, but no one had caught his attention. Now, he had finally met a decent opponent. Deep down, Jian Wushuang was full of anticipation for the fight. Let's start. Xue Feng blinked and transformed into a blood shadow, which flew through the void. Her speed was so fast that ordinary skyscraping realm experts would only see a shadow. The blood shadow suddenly popped up in front of Jian Wushuang, and the scarlet scythe hacked towards him. The scarlet scythe looked like a beautiful scarlet moon as it split the void and rushed towards Jian Wushuang. The tremendous power compressed the air and produced successive explosions. So powerful, Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows. Although he hadn't fought against the scarlet scythe, he could sense its great power based on this attack. Fortunately, they were in the eternal world. If this had happened in the ancient world, the scarlet scythe would have split the void into 2 parts. Jian Wushuang proceeded with caution. His killing intent surged, and his heart-killing sword was shaken because it sensed a strong opponent nearby. Jian Wushuang started his first attack. His sword impaled the void. Boom! An immaterial wave spread out. The first level of the advanced secret skill, Heaven-breaking technique. Jian Wushuang's world body had been cultivated in the world prison with the support of Emperor Shao for 3 years. At the same time, with the guidance of Di Jing, his slaughter body had fought with thousands of crazy demons in the slaughter zone. During those fights, his comprehension of slaughter Tao had improved significantly, and he had created his own secret skill. The heaven-breaking technique, which was created by his slaughter body, had already reached the first advanced level. Pung! A loud bang made the battlefield tremble. Whoosh! Whoosh! Jian Wushuang and Xue Feng were forced to retreat because of the explosion. None of them had an advantage in this round. The Sword Principle Manual is great. Obviously, your comprehension of the Slaughter Dao is not as good as mine, but the power of the secret skill that you have created is stronger than mine. Xue Feng stared at Jian Wushuang with a hint of respect. Sword Emperor, you are the only skyscraping realm expert who has managed to withstand my previous attack in these 3 days. Now, I will try my best to fight. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang sneered, but deep down he thought, Xue Feng is indeed strong, but her strength is still not good enough to let my world body join the fight. I can beat her with my slaughter body. Jian Wushuang's 2 original bodies. The slaughter body was weaker than the world body. Since the start of the first round, he had only fought with his slaughter body. Even for this encounter with Xue Feng, he didn't plan to use his world body. Let's fight. Jian Wushuang and Xue Feng resumed their fierce fight. Swish, 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 swish. The 2 figures both transformed into shadows. They flew through the void with ease at extreme speeds. Then they exchanged blows. Xue Feng's scarlet scythe transformed to 3 blood shadows and hacked towards Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang easily dodged the attack and then swept his sword light outwards with powerful killing intent. As they fought, hundreds of huge holes appeared in the ground. The loud noises from the fight also drew the attention of experts nearby, but they did not dare to approach closer to watch. Sword Emperor and Xue Feng. The 2 of them are fighting now. Both of their battle strengths are ranked in the top 30, so they can easily pass the first round. It's not necessary for them to fight now. Maybe they have been unbeatable in the ancient world for a long time, so they are eager to have a fierce fight when they meet a worthy opponent. Many experts were discussing among themselves. At this moment, in front of the numerous mirror images outside the battlefield. Number 315 image, Sword Emperor and Xue Feng are fighting. Both of them can enter the second round. They are definitely the top ancient world warriors this time. Since they are fighting now, record the mirror image carefully, don't miss any details. The cold voice issued the command, and the fight was completely recorded by the mirror image. On the battlefield, the 2 experts were still fighting to death, and both were evenly matched. I've exploited the Dao comprehension well, but I still can't defeat him or even take any advantage. Xue Feng frowned. Jian Wushuang had a cold expression on his face as he thought, Xue Feng is much stronger than all the other skyscraping realm experts I have met. If I want to defeat her with my slaughter body, I should either use the spiritual power or physical power, which are much stronger than the average level, or I need to use that trick. Jian Wushuang pondered over his options. He had cultivated the heavenly creation skill, so he had a perfect foundation which made his spiritual power and physical power much stronger than the ordinary skyscraping realm. This was his biggest advantage. However, Emperor Shao had cautioned him against showing his perfect foundation, so he couldn't really use it. Chapter 623, I'm Feng. Chapter 623, I'm Feng. Since I can't expose my flawless foundation to them, I'll have to use something else. Jian Wushuang made up his mind. However, before he could make that move, a deep voice interrupted his plan. The both of you, not bad. A man's voice echoed throughout the area with a suppressing force, which drew the attention of the 2 people who were fighting as well as the skyscraping realm experts hidden in the surroundings. Looking towards the voice, they saw a man clothed in a heavy armor walking towards them with a saber in his hand. The man was strong-built and in his middle years. As he drew near, the experts could feel the suppressing force that surrounded them become stronger. When the man finally stopped walking, he looked toward Jian Wushuang and Xue Feng with battle intent in his eyes, while loudly saying, "I'm Feng. Feng." The name caused the hidden experts to change their looks. Xue Feng also showed a grave expression upon hearing this name. As for Jian Wushuang, he only looked slightly serious at that moment. During the last 3 days on the battlefield, they had heard many famous names, most of which were of the top 30 experts, but none had frightened them so much as Feng had. It was all because many skyscraping realm experts had died in this person's hand, including some people as powerful as Xue Feng. Even more terrifying, those poor guys had been killed in a single strike before they could even struggle. In light of this, Feng was considered as one of the top 3 experts among everyone who was still on the battlefield. 2 days ago, when I first heard this name, I thought I would meet him in the second round, but it looks like he came sooner than I expected. Jian Wushuang smiled faintly at Feng, not frightened at all. He was not as famous as Feng, but that did not mean that he was weaker. After all, he had not used his full power yet. Sword Emperor, Xue Feng. Feng called their names while looking at them. You too are powerful, so you qualify to be my opponents. Now accept my blow. After saying this, Feng swung his saber at Jian Wushuang and Xue Feng. Looking at this move, Jian Wushuang could tell the man had reached an extremely high level in the Destruction Dao and had comprehended all the key points at his current level. Besides the move, Feng also displayed a powerful secret skill. His saber surged toward its target like a rolling river. However, the target was only Xue Feng. Xue Feng had a grave expression while facing this blow. Without hesitation, she met the saber with her scarlet scythe and all her Dao power. When the 2 weapons collided together, the saber overpowered the scythe and cut through Xue Feng's body in an instant, while she stared ahead in amazement. Wong, a dazzling light, flashed out of the drill ground. It was Xue Feng being sent out of the battlefield. How is this possible? He defeated me with a single strike. Am I really so powerless when compared with him? She stood there quietly, her eyes filled with disbelief. She had been confident in her power before this, so it never occurred to her that she would lose to someone at the same level as her in one strike. The only reason had to be that Feng was just too strong. His power lives up to his fame. He should be ranked number 1 among us. She sighed, staring at the wormhole in front of her. Since he's not any stronger than me, Sword Emperor will be defeated by Feng with 1 strike as well. With this thought, she waited for Jian Wushuang to exit the battlefield and appear here as well. The hidden skyscraping realm experts were still in shock after seeing Xue Feng's failure. Even Jian Wushuang couldn't help narrowing his eyes. It's your turn. Feng turned towards Jian Wushuang and launched a ruthless attack. It was a blow as powerful as the previous one. The hidden experts started to take pity on Jian Wushuang because they thought that he could not survive it. They believed that Jian Wushuang was at the same level as Xue Feng. When he saw the move coming towards him, Jian Wushuang took action as well. He decided to continue relying solely on his slaughter body. The heart-killing sword quivered along with his surging killing intent. Cataclysm skill. As Jian Wushuang growled, killing intent began to radiate from him. Buzz. The moment he displayed this skill, the whole area became dark. Only his sword shone brightly in the darkness. Boom! With a fierce sound of metal on metal, a blast wave surged out towards the surroundings. Jian Wushuang was thrown back hundreds of meters like a cannonball. Meanwhile, Feng was only forced to take 1 step backwards. However, it still surprised him. The scene rocked all the hidden experts, So they started talking about it. Jian Wushuang is alive. He didn't get killed, and he even forced Feng to retreat a step. It was a brilliant move. The experts who were responsible for recording the battle results witnessed the fight through the mirror image. Superior secret skill of the first level. The skill Jian Wushuang displayed is of the first level. Write it down now. Jian Wushuang has survived Feng's attack with his superior secret skill. He even forced Feng to take a step backwards. Therefore, he is qualified for the second round and even the third round of the following battle. Chapter 624, Round 1, over. Chapter 624, Round 1, over. Jian Wushuang and Feng stood in the air, hundreds of feet apart. When Feng sensed Jian Wushuang's aura and realized it was as powerful as before, he frowned and said, "You're the first person who managed to take my blow on this battlefield. You're much more powerful than any of my previous opponents." "How flattering. You're quite powerful as well." Jian Wushuang praised him from the bottom of his heart. He was not sure if he could beat Feng even with his world body. "With your current power, you can make it to the end of this round. I expect to meet you in round 2, Feng added. Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows when he heard those words. He doesn't want to fight me now. After all, it was just the first round of genius battle in the ancient world. Therefore, they did not have to battle each other at that moment. I expect to see you in the following rounds as well. Jian Wushuang's eyes sparkled with battle intent. Feng shot him a serious glance and nodded at him before leaving. After Feng left, the hidden experts were in a sudden uproar. This battle would bring Jian Wushuang's name to every corner of the battlefield as a person who had been able to push Feng back. In the next few days, the battle continued in a less fierce way since there were fewer people still fighting on the battlefield. After the battles with Xue Feng and Feng, Jian Wushuang encountered another expert ranked within the top 30. This opponent was even stronger than Xue Feng, but Jian Wushuang still killed him with his superior secret skill, Cataclysm skill. As time went by, the 5th day finally arrived, signaling the end of the first round of the genius battle. Boom! A mighty power swept over the whole battlefield and caused everyone there to cease what they were doing. The very next moment, they saw their token explode in a flash of light, and they were brought back to the drill ground. All the warriors from the ancient world had been gathered there again. The whole area was clamorous as the experts looked towards the people who had performed well during the battle. Look, he is Feng. He is a frightening guy. I heard that he killed countless opponents during the last 5 days, including some of the people in the top 30, with only a single strike. Very few managed to take his blow. This guy is terrifying. The man there is Huang, and he's as famous as Feng. It's impossible to tell who is more powerful between the two unless they battle each other. That guy is Xianing. He has battled Huang. Can you see that black-robed youth with a sword on his back? He is Sword Emperor, one of those who managed to survive Feng's attack. He might not be a match for Feng and Huang, but he is not weak at all. Quite a lot of people were discussing the results with each other. They had talked very little at the beginning when everyone had yet to show their power, but now, after the first round, they had enough information to have discussions about the powerful experts. On the other side of the drill ground, the geniuses from the eternal world were talking to each other as well. I really want to know whether we have made it to round 2 or not. The results were a worrisome issue to most of them except for those who had absolute confidence in themselves, such as Jian Wushuang, Feng, and Huang. Everyone waited in silence. By the time the elders finished calculating all the results, a half hour had passed, and the list of those who could get into the next round was decided. Here are the details on the first round of the genius battle. Send it to all the sects right now. The leader of the elders ordered. Understood. Someone went to send the files. Not many sects currently had their men watching the battle in Firmament Territory Feast. They did not care about the results of the first round because it would not be enough to determine who the most excellent talents were. That's why the elders had to send the results to them. However, when it came to the second round, the sects would be more concerned. The list of the winners of the first round is settled. Go announce it. Immediately, a white-robed man took the list to the drill ground and handed it to the host of the battle. After a careful glance, the host nodded and went to the drill ground where the geniuses from the eternal world were. We're ready to announce the names of those who make it to the second round. I'll read them to you one by one. The host started to read the names on the list before the warriors could react. Gu Qing, Mu Zhan, Ouyang Xian, Ling Hu. Those whose names were called all beamed with joy, while the others remained anxious. The host read out 900 names without pausing. The above 900 people are eligible for the second round of the genius battle. As for the rest of you, you all failed, the host said indifferently. Feelings of happiness and sadness encompassed the area. Chapter 625, Unfair? Chapter 625, Unfair. A little later, the host appeared at the drill ground on the other side, where the warriors from the ancient world were gathered. Just as before, he started reading the names on the list. Feng. The first name he read out was Feng. No one felt surprised by that because Feng had demonstrated his incredible power in the first round and was regarded as the #1 expert among them. Hua Ying, Long Ying, Bing Shan. Those names echoed loudly throughout the area. Jian Wushuang was the 13th one to be called. He slightly smiled among the crowd, but he was not surprised. Even though he had not used his world body even once during the last 5 days, only relying on his slaughter body, he could easily rank within the top 20 among all the competitors. Therefore, he was confident in his results. He Xian, Dongfeng Lingyue, Xue Feng. The red-robed woman, Xue Feng, let out a sigh of relief after hearing her name. She had been worried about the result because Feng had defeated her in the first half of the first round. However, it turned out that anyone who demonstrated their talent and power would get into round 2. I can't believe Sword Emperor made it to the end of the first round. She could not help glancing at Jian Wushuang with an odd look. Back when she was locked in battle with him, Feng approached them and defeated her, throwing her out the battlefield with one strike. She had thought that Jian Wushuang would suffer the same result as her, but she was wrong. Jian Wushuang had not been sent out of the battlefield, no matter how long she stood there waiting. Could it be that Jian Wushuang was hiding his power when he fought against me? Xue Feng thought to herself. Up in the air, the host suddenly paused after announcing 100 names. What's the matter? Why did he stop reading? What's going on? The warriors all looked confused. Then they heard an icy voice say, the above 100 people can participate in the second round. Everyone else has been eliminated. Those words dumbfounded the warriors. What? Is that it? Only those 100 people made it to the second round. No, it's not fair. Someone roared. How could it just be 100 people? In fact, those who had made it to the next round looked surprised as well. They could not believe that among the 100,000 participants, only such a small number of them managed to pass the first round, while the other side of the battlefield had 900 people out of 10,000 from the eternal world that could enter the second round. There was a huge difference between the two numbers. It's not fair. Why are there only 100 of us allowed in the second round while 900 passed. The number of our participants was 10 times larger than theirs. They showed more favor to those from the eternal worlds. I don't believe I'm weaker than the talents from the eternal world. Why are they allowed in the second round? But I'm not. Just because I'm from the ancient world, I can't accept this. Roars kept resounding from the drill ground. There were many who had confidence in their power, but they were not on the list, so they were unconvinced. Humph! The host snorted and looked down at the warriors and used his aura to suppress the whole area. The aura was 100 times more powerful than the one Jian Wushuang had felt from Xue Feng. Everyone became quiet while facing this pressure. Some of the rebellious ones were even forced down on their knees by the pressure. I told you that everyone is equal in Firmament Territory Feast. Only your talent and power can determine your fate. Those who failed in the first round failed because you lack power. The voice of the host was heard again. As for whether it's fair or not, the weak have no right to judge that, the host continued firmly. He waved his hand and added, as I said previously, the people on the list can stay. As for the others, your time in Firmament Territory Feast is over. You can choose to leave here on your own in a half hour or be killed. Those words caused the place to be shrouded in a gloomy atmosphere. The warriors who failed in the first round had to leave hopelessly, no matter how unwilling they were. They dared not challenge the host, nor the sects behind him. Sword Emperor, congratulations! Jian Wushuang, among us three, only you made it to the second round. Remember to win some fame for our ancient world. Wu Xian and Ming Lu looked at Jian Wushuang with envy. The two had tried their best to fight, but they were too weak and failed to earn themselves a place on the list. You two, please take care of yourselves. Jian Wushuang shook his head while watching their backs. He could do nothing about their results. He knew very well that due to their weak power, no sect would offer them an olive branch, so leaving here was the best choice for them, as it would be too dangerous to adventure in the eternal world. Lots of warriors left while grumbling about it. Jian Wushuang shook his head at them in secret. Is this really not fair? Is it? He could not help looking toward the drill ground where the geniuses from Eternal World were. Chapter 626, The Three Magnates. Chapter 626, The Three Magnates. Tens of thousands of people from our ancient world participated in the battle, many more than that of the Eternal World. Nevertheless, our overall level of power is less than theirs. They possess superior resources for cultivation, so they have a great advantage over us, allowing them to gain more power. The 900 winners of the first round are the top talents among them, and it's true that only 100 of us could be their match. Jian Wushuang sighed in private. The host was right, it's a fair battle. In less than half an hour, all those who failed the first round had left. The number of those who remained in the two drill grounds amounted to about 1,000. They stood on two opposing sides, the people from the eternal world on one side, while those from the ancient world were on the other side. However, the next round would be different from the first round because they would encounter opponents from both sides. Listen, the host spoke again. All of you are definitely geniuses of the Firmament Territory since you have survived the first round, but the second round will take place in 10 days. Please prepare yourselves. In 10 days, the geniuses were surprised. I'll give you the information on all the sects in the Firmament Territory, so you can consider which one you want to join while you are preparing for the following battles. Of course, you should know that your performance in the upcoming battles will decide whether you can achieve your wish or not. So, geniuses, show your power as much as you can, and it may result in you receiving an invitation from the sections. An intense discussion immediately broke out among the geniuses when the words fell. Sword Emperor. Xue Feng walked over to Jian Wushuang. Xue Feng. Jian Wushuang gave her a smile. I heard that you managed to survive Feng's attack, Xue Feng said with a strange expression. I was just lucky, Jian Wushuang replied. I don't think it's luck that you created a superior secret skill. Xue Feng curled her lip and continued, It looks like I have to watch my back if I meet you in the future rounds. Well, Jian Wushuang forced a smile. Right then, both Jian Wushuang and Xue Feng felt several disdainful eyes fall on them. Those guys. Xue Feng gritted her teeth and looked toward the geniuses of the eternal world. That was where she felt the stares coming from. They are really arrogant. How annoying. She growled. Yes, they look down on us from the bottom of their hearts since they have more advantages than us. Jian Wushuang echoed her thoughts while frowning. But we have to admit that they are more powerful than us. Even Feng, the strongest one among us, is probably no match for the top 10 experts among them. Xue Feng said dejectedly. Her conclusion made Jian Wushuang narrow his eyes. He had learned of Feng's incredible power, so it was really astonishing to know that Feng, who had defeated Xue Feng with one attack, could not make it into the top 10. Maybe it's true. Jian Wushuang sighed in secret. While the geniuses were chatting with each other, someone came and handed them a file containing detailed information on all the sections. The geniuses immediately started reading through the information as soon as they received it. After all, the 100 geniuses from the ancient world knew very little about the eternal world and the sects, so they read the files with their full attention. Jian Wushuang was no exception. The firmament territory covers a large area in the eternal world, and it's home to numerous sects and forces, both strong and weak ones. Among the forces, there are 3 Magnates, Cloud Sea Asgard, the Immortal Dynasty, and the Boundless Demon Sect. Those 3 sects possess the best resources and have the most disciples in the firmament territory. Men of talent appear there in large numbers with every generation. In short, they are the most powerful sects in the whole territory. As the geniuses were reading, the descriptions about the 3 Magnates caused their eyes to light up. They knew that the stronger a sect was, the more resources it could provide them. All they wanted from the Firmament Territory Feast was to join a powerful sect, so it was obvious that the 3 Magnates would be their best choices. However, the strong sects always had a higher standard for their disciples. Normal geniuses would never enter their eyes. Only the truly exceptional ones could win their favor, like the top 10 geniuses. It's too hard for me to reach the standards of the 3 Magnates. I should just give up. As for what has been written in the file, only the very best will be accepted as inner disciples. Even becoming an outer disciple requires one to enter the top 50. Obviously, I'm far from their requirements. Take it easy. There are other sects besides the 3 Magnates. We may still have some hope. The drill ground was abuzz with discussion. After carefully reading through the information of the Magnates, Jian Wushuang turned to the 9 other top sections. Those sects might not be as powerful as the Magnates, but they still possess a certain level of strength. The best of them was a sect called the Ancient Sect. Chapter 627, Skyward Pavillion. Chapter 627, Skyward Pavillion. The Ancient Sect. Those words caught his eye, so he continued reading. According to the file, even though this sect was only one of the top sects, it had won as much fame as the 3 Magnates. The master of the Ancient Sect is acknowledged as the #1 expert in firmament territory, and Xian Yi from this sect is the best among those in the Eternal Realm. In addition to the sect master, there were also 3 Dao masters in its long history. The information caused Jian Wushuang to have a strange expression on his face. He was almost lost in those words about the brilliant achievements of the ancient sect, which, based on the file, seemed to be more impressive than the three magnates. The fact that the number one expert in the firmament territory was not from the three supreme magnates had been totally beyond his expectation. What had surprised him even more was that, while there was only one Tao master in each magnate, there were three in the ancient sect. 3 Tao masters in one sect. There was no doubt that the ancient sect could outshine the three magnates. The ancient sect. Jian Wushuang repeated the name in secret. If the author of this file is not from the ancient sect and has not overglorified it, the only logical reason to justify such a magnificent description is that this sect is quite unusual. With this assumption, Jian Wushuang continued reading about the other sections. The rest of the 9 sects were actually very normal and not up to par with the three magnates. Following the 9 sects were many middle-sized and small sections. However, as powerful as they might be, they were no match for the top 9. After reading through all the information, Jian Wushuang finally understood the general knowledge related to all the sections. If I want to gain more benefits, I will have to do my best to join a more powerful sect. The three magnates and the ancient sect should be my best choices. If that doesn't work out, there are the other top sections. As for the middle-sized and small sects, they would be about as helpful to me as adventuring on my own. Jian Wushuang was determined to at least join one of the top 9 sections. Of course, he knew it would all be up to the sections. On the drill ground, all 1,000 geniuses were waiting in silence. 3 days later, they heard a series of booming sounds and felt a mighty power descending. What's happening? They immediately looked up only to see a towering pavilion floating in the sky above them. The pavilion was as huge as a mountain and had 2 golden words that seemed to be carved at the center of it: Skyward Pavillion. A pavilion? A floating pavilion? This pavilion has such an overbearing aura. The geniuses all studied it with astonishment and awe in their eyes. They could feel the aura very clearly. At the same time, they also noticed that the pavilion had 4 floors with several rooms on each floor. However, the top floor only had 3 big rooms. Judging from the awe-inspiring aura that was coming from them, they guessed that those rooms were for the 3 magnates. On the 3rd floor, there were 9 rooms representing the top 9 sections. As for the rooms on the 1st and 2nd floor, they belonged to the small and middle-sized sections. Inside the center room on the top floor were the people from Cloud Sea Asgard. Your Excellency, the details of the geniuses who have survived the first round are in those 2 files. This one is for the 900 people from the eternal world, and that one is for the 100 people from the ancient world. In the room, a man dressed in white handed 2 files to an elder. The elder, who was sitting in a wooden chair, looked like an immortal with black hair. His milky eyes glanced over the man before he accepted the file with the information on geniuses from the eternal world and began to read it. As for the other file, he did not even spare it a glance. The elder quickly finished reading. The geniuses this year seem to be more outstanding than in the previous years. The elder murmured, "We plan to accept 3 new disciples from them, but it looks like we will have to increase it to 5. Your Excellency, do you want to take a look at the information of those geniuses from ancient world?" The man in white asked gingerly, "From the ancient world?" The elder raised his eyebrows and sneered while saying, "Hell no! They are no match for those from the eternal world. Because of their limited resources, they were born to be inferior to those in the eternal world regardless of their talent or insight. In addition, their foundations are also inferior. The further they go after reaching the skyscraping realm, the nearer they draw to their limitations. So, I don't actually think they should be considered geniuses because of their disadvantages and useless cultivation. I reckon that less than 5 among them will survive the second round of the genius battle. I don't want to waste my time on them. Obviously, the elder thought little of those geniuses from the ancient world. On the contrary, I'd love to pay more attention to the shining stars among the geniuses from the eternal world, the elder added with a smile. Your Excellency, do you need me to send them an invitation now? No, not yet. The elder continued, speaking with an expression of pride. We can't make it too easy for them. If they want to be one of our disciples, they will have to show us more of their talent. The elder showed his pride as a member of the top sect among the 3 Magnates. Chapter 6:28, An Invitation. Chapter 6:28, An Invitation. At the top floor of Skyward Pavillion, in the room on the left, were the people of the immortal dynasty. Among them, a middle-aged man with matted hair, who was sitting straight in his chair, with 2 files at hand. His eyebrows revealed his rebellious character. After he glanced through one of the files, the one containing the information on the geniuses from Eternal World, he nodded and exclaimed, "Some of these youngsters are really outstanding. Your Excellency, should we send them an invitation in advance?" A white-robed man, standing beside him, asked respectfully. "No, let's wait a little longer," the middle-aged man replied. From the very beginning to the end, he never even cast a glance at the other file. The geniuses from the ancient world were completely ignored. At the same time, in the room of the boundless demon sect, a girl was reading a file as well. She looked quite young, but her aura was evil and terrifying. When she finished reading the information on the geniuses from the eternal world, she turned to the file on those from the ancient world. The man named Feng has performed well, but he will, at best, only make it within the top 20. She curled her lips and put the file away casually. It seemed that none of the 3 Magnates had really been interested in Jian Wushuang and the others that came from the ancient world. What's worse, the same was true of the top sects as well. They did not believe that there were real geniuses in the ancient world. However, being less competitive than the top sects, the middle-sized and small sects had decided to target those who were less favored. The genius Feng, despite being from the ancient world, is really something and may even make it to the top 20 in the Firmament Territory Feast. Send him an invitation saying that we want to accept him as our disciple. An order was given out by the Luotian sect. Send Feng an invitation and tell him we're willing to have an eternal realm expert teach him in person. Another order came out from the Icefire sect. The man named Hua Ying is really impressive and can probably survive the second round. Tell him our Sky Shadow Temple is willing to accept him as an inner disciple. Bingshan is excellent. Those invitations from the middle-sized and small sects went to the outstanding geniuses from the ancient world in succession. While all the geniuses were gathered in the drill ground, some men dressed in white robes would arrive and give the geniuses from the eternal world an invitation from time to time. As for those from the ancient world, like Jian Wushuang, they had received some invitations as well, but all of them were from the middle-sized and small sections. Jian Wushuang. A man came to him and said, "Here is an invitation from our Mahuis sect. If you accept it, then you will be an inner disciple, and one of our divine realm experts will teach you in person." Understood. Thanks. Jian Wushuang simply nodded without giving a definite answer. This is a message token from the divine realm expert Zhou Yi. Once you've decided to accept our invitation, you can contact him through it. Jian Wushuang accepted the token and put it in his interspatial ring without taking a careful look at it. He was not interested in joining a powerless sect where the strongest person was a divine realm expert. The invitation might not appeal to Jian Wushuang, but it did to many others who looked at Jian Wushuang with envy. Some of them had only received an invitation from the small sects and could only be outer disciples, while some had not even been invited once. Therefore, being an inner disciple of the Mahua sect and having a divine realm expert as a master was a very satisfying prospect to them. So far, I've received 4 invitations, 3 from small sects as an inner disciple, and 1 from a middle-sized sect as an outer disciple. Jian Wushuang shook his head in secret, but he was not discouraged. After all, he had yet to show his real power in the 3 rounds of this genius battle. He was sure that he would receive many better offers after the 2nd and 3rd round. Feng was the origin of his confidence in that. After demonstrating his power, Feng had received a dozen invitations from the middle-sized sects. Even a top sect had offered him a place as one of their outer disciples. As the people on the drill ground continued waiting, in the center room on the 3rd floor of Skyward Pavillion, a white-robed man stood with 2 files in his hand. The man had been waiting there for the past 7 days for the experts who were supposed to be in the room. It's been 7 days, but no one has come. The man was quite bothered and helpless. He was waiting for the representatives of the ancient sect to come. He knew very well that, just as everyone who had ever adventured in the firmament territory knew, even though the ancient sect was less powerful than the 3 magnates, they would be harder to deal with than those 3. Right then, whoosh, a figure suddenly appeared in the room as if it appeared out of thin air. The waiting man was startled inside as he looked toward the newcomer. It was a tall man, more than 2 meters in height, with a gentle look and purple hair. The man wore a charming smile on his face and was standing with both hands behind his back, towering like a mountain. That's the impression he gave to others. He showed a smile at the man, who was waiting for him, and apologized. "Sorry, I'm late." The waiting man was so surprised that his eyes opened wide when he finished getting a clear look at the newcomer. "Master, Xian Yi." Chapter 629, The Second Round of the Genius Battle. Chapter 629, The Second Round of the Genius Battle. "Master Xian Yi has come in person, and he apologized to me just now." Staring at the towering gentleman in front of him, the white-robed man could not believe his eyes. At that moment, the people in the surrounding rooms noticed Xian Yi's arrival as well. The girl from the Boundless Demon Sect was the first one to speak to him in a humble tone. "Mr. Xian Yi, I never thought that you would personally attend the Firmament Territory Feast. Xian Yi, are all the Eternal Realm experts in your sect dead? If not, then why would you, as the #1 Eternal Realm expert, come here by yourself?" The voice was from the black-haired elder from Cloud Sea Asgard. The words might not sound kind, but the others could tell that the elder was in awe of Xian Yi. The middle-aged man from the Immortal Dynasty also chimed in with a laugh and said, "Mr. Xian Yi, we all feel honored by your presence." While those people addressed Xian Yi in a more casual way, the experts from the middle-sized and small sects did it more reverently. They called him Master Xian Yi. "Well, I just came to join in the fun. Of course, it would be good if I could find some new disciples for our sect," Xian Yi said with a casual smile. After a while of chatting, Xian Yi turned to the white-robed man and ordered, "Give me the files in your hand." "Yes, Your Excellency." The man immediately handed the files to him. After taking a quick glance at the information of the geniuses from the eternal world, Xian Yi put it away and started reading the other file carefully, and even made some comments. The ancient world really has some talents this time. His words somehow stunned the white-robed man. Why did His Excellency favor the participants from the ancient world more than he favors those from the eternal world? He is completely different from the 3 magnates and the top 9 sections. Feng, Huaying, Bingshan, and Jian Wushuang. They are all impressive. Let's wait and see their performance in the second round. Xian Yi murmured to himself as he took a seat nearby. 10 days passed quickly. The second round of the genius battle was about to begin. All the geniuses on the drill ground were itching for a fight, especially those who had not received a satisfying invitation from the sections. Their eager eyes betrayed their anxiety. It was clear to all of them that the battle results of the first round could not decide their fate alone, so they were ready to show their real power in the remaining rounds. 10 days have passed. Now, the second round of the genius battle can finally begin. The host's loud voice echoed throughout the whole drill ground from above. This will be different to the first round. In this round, you will be fighting against puppet fighters instead of other participants. After saying this, the host waved his hand, at which point 5 tall and wide platforms, capable of supporting a fierce battle between 2 skyscraping realm experts, appeared in front of the drill ground. In addition to that, each of the platforms was covered with a restriction and had a single towering figure about 2 meters tall standing on it. It was the puppet fighters. The 5 platforms constituted 5 battlefields. Listen, the host continued. The rules for this round are very simple. You can choose any one of the 5 puppet fighters to fight. If you are able to survive against it for 15 minutes, you win. The words caused the geniuses to have a complex feeling. The rules for this round were simple, but it would be harder to pass it. Now, I'm going to call out names in batches of 5 for this round, the host said while looking around. Long Xian, Xue Wuji, Beast, Beitsong King, Zhuge Qing. The 5 of you are the first batch. The 5 men immediately walked to the host in succession. Among them, only Beitsong King was from the ancient world. The rest of them were from the eternal world. The 5 each entered their own battlefield. They were the first batch of challengers, which made them a little uneasy because they did not know how powerful the puppet fighters were. Begin. With the host's shout, all 5 puppet fighters began to move. They all charged at their targets at the same time, each one with a long spear in hand. They drew near to the challengers at an amazing speed and started attacking. Boom, 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 boom. 5 blows pierced towards their targets. They're quite powerful. The geniuses showed a horrified look as they watched this scene. They could see each of the blows very clearly. Those 5 puppet fighters are really strong. Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes. He could tell that the puppet fighters were a level more powerful than normal skyscraping realm experts, no matter in power or speed. Most importantly, they all had a profound comprehension of the Tao. All of them have been cultivating the destruction Tao and have mastered its first level. Even the skills they are displaying are superior rank 1 secret skills. Jian Wushuang could not help being astonished. As far as he knew, only about 20 people in the Firmament Territory Feast had mastered the first level of a Tao, and the ones who had managed to create a superior rank 1 secret skill might be even fewer. Therefore, there was no doubt that those puppet fighters could be ranked within the top 20 among them with their achievements in the Tao, skills, strength, and speed, which to say, the puppets were equal to the more powerful challengers, like Feng. The thought of holding on for 15 minutes under such formidable attacks really scared some of the geniuses. Some of them even became pale-faced.